Time's up.
Hello, everybody. And sadly, today is not Independence Day, but it might as well be. So welcome to the Friday night feature where we review all the movies. Jared won't let me do it. And let's bring in the crew. First off, we have our special guest, the woman who has pledged to destroy everything I love. We have Melee K.
Why do you think that automatically? All I said was, he said he's going to celebrate, and I just put ... maybe.
I see you
maybe.
hinting, girl.
We'll see. We'll see. We're not even there yet. I'm just saying.
You hinted. You hinted.
I get a no, you know what? I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to wait until we talk about all of it.
All right.
I plead the fifth.
JT, yes, that is a Witcher medallion. Thank you for asking. Hey, anything to piss off Razor Fist. So, next up, Razor Fist hates the Witcher.
What?
He all right, that's the conversation for another day.
Okay.
So next up, we have the mistress of ships herself, Bunny Girl Nix. How you doing, my friend?
Hello.
And then lastly, we have the man who rooftop Korean is his favorite gender. We have Chris.
안녕하세요. No, the reason why Razor Fist hates The Witcher is because he was a fan of Elric of Melniboné. And if you've ever read Elric, he was called the White Wolf.
What is that?
Elric was
exactly.
Elric was invented as the anti-Conan. He was made by I can't remember the guy's first name, but Moorcock. Funny last name. But he wrote.
Okay, wait. So if this is like a Conan type story, this should be a pretty old story, right? Like,
yes,
is that why I've never heard of this? Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the he was like the first emo, like anti-edgelord character. Like he was everything Conan wasn't. Like Conan was like a big buff, dark-haired guy. This guy was a weak kind of albino guy. That's why he was called the White Wolf, which, you know, that Geralt of Rivia was.
I mean, in my opinion, all of Razor Fist's criticism are like, oh, he's a swordsman that does magic. It's all base level. It's all generic stuff. You know, like magic. He's a magical swordsman that hunts monsters.
Well,
like that can describe so many different characters.
No, yeah, but like, for example, Blizzard shamelessly ripped off Elric of Melniboné when they did the Lich King. Like the Elric has a famous sword that steals souls called Mornblade, and in Warcraft you have the Lich King who has Frostmourne, and it's the same sword. It's a runic bladed sword, and it's like, wow, you guys just don't even like, you're not even ashamed of it.
I also know like next to nothing about Warcraft, but I've been told I should play. Well, here's my thing with World of Warcraft, not to completely derail your show as I always do, but with World of Warcraft,
that happened.
Yeah, well, James is the big World of Warcraft person on our channel. That is not me. When that was like a big thing.
WoW weekend, I might actually join you.
Well, here's the thing. So when that was a huge thing, he was like really into it. I wanted to become a World of Warcraft fan, but I didn't want that to consume my life. So I went in the direction of, I'm going to try every other game because I know I'm going to love World of Warcraft and then I'm not going to play anything else. And I regret that because you can't really get the pure experience anymore that, you know, people got way back then. Yeah, so I'm supposed to play like Warcraft 3 or something. Apparently that's still playable, but regular World of Warcraft isn't.
Reforged?
Melee,
I don't know. Yeah.
If you're gonna do a private server, I have played on Turtle WoW, and that's a pretty good private server. But if you want to do a private server event, I am down. Like I will.
Okay.
By the way, Horde rules. But if you have to do Alliance, I will become a flame blue.
No, we're a Horde house. If I go Alliance, he's gonna take me out back. So I have to go Horde.
Did you ever see
Horde,
the lead singer of Cannibal Corpse, who was interviewed?
So literally when you raid us on Twitch, when you raid us when we're streaming, that is what plays.
Yes!
Hey, Ruthie. I am the son of the wind and rain.
No, the guy was like, he was being interviewed at some like music like concert or whatever. Like, you know, big like, you know, it's like Justin Penfield or somebody from like, you know, like Headbangers Ball. Yeah, let's talk about. And all of a sudden the lead singer just goes off in this like 3-hour tangent about World of Warcraft and about I'm not going to drop the F-bomb, but that's what he called the Alliance. And he's like, You join the alliance, you're a dead man. Like,
Oh,
Yeah.
that is bull crap.
It's a great clip, honestly. No, we'll definitely do World of Warcraft stuff on our channel. So if we ever, or, you know, I don't know. I barely understand it, man. I liked the movie. I liked the movie. That's all I know. I loved the movie, and I was like, why was I never a Warcraft fan? This makes me so angry. It's a great film. Make more of them.
Melee, sir. I don't know his.
Like, oh, James. Yeah.
James. Okay. You're gonna hate me for this, but I did come into WoW late. I started with Warlords of Draenor, and I played like probably at least the first half of Legion. Legion was my prime. Oh my god! I came back a little bit for BFA, and I played some Classic. Oh god, I love WoW. I wish I could have played it earlier. Yeah, they did die a long time ago. But that's enough derailing.
Yeah.
Well, actually, first let's ask some of my other co-hosts. How you guys doing? How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, just started my vacation. Friday to Friday, baby.
Nice.
Yeah, sir. Like, I gotta be honest with you, I didn't really understand the hate of Warlords of Draenor. I think the thing with Warlords of Draenor was like the lack of content, because like if you actually look at people like the content we did get in Warlords of Draenor was really good. Like a lot of people's favorite like raids and dungeons. Some of them are still in WoD. It's just the lack of it. Yeah, Legion was a great one for me. I love that. Grom Hellscream. I'm sorry, I'm a Vol'jin guy because I mained a troll druid, and I also. Oh! You watched the Wild Krendor video.
He's a big Warcraft fan.
Yeah. I remember when I was playing in Legion, I was some guilds. I don't know how many people. It's like, oh my god, I haven't played since Wrath of Lich King. They came back for Legion. Like there was a lot of that. You're always getting yourself banned.
Yeah.
All right. Let's just top in some headlines, shall we?
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
All right, so welcome to Headline Hysteria, where we cover all the topics that are important, just not enough for a full video. Let's start off light. So, apparently, the summer sale is upon us. I think it was either WoW Krendor or like one of those other WoW tubers. They did a Garrosh Did Nothing Wrong video as like an April Fool's Day joke, and it like unironically kind of caught on a little bit. But yeah. Picking Jambalaya, what did I miss? So we are talking about the Steam summer sale, the one time in the year where we open up our wallets instead of our legs and we give everything.
Whoa, what?
That did not come out the way I thought it would. Oh my god. So Melee, did you get anything in the Steam summer sale?
You know, I have not bought anything on the Steam Summer Sale yet, and part of that is because for those of us who know our channel, we're going to be doing something a little bit special with Steam on Sunday, and we might be looking at some stuff on that sale. So I haven't bought anything yet. Honestly, the game that I wanted isn't really on sale, which sucks, which is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I'm super excited for that game. So I'm probably going to buy it on Xbox anyways, because I like console more. But like all the games that are kind of on my backlog, I've already purchased either through the last summer sale or not summer sale, but last Steam sale or whatever. So like Bellatra was another one, but I'm like, I already bought that. And then Pizza Tower we've owned for like a year and I haven't played. So this summer sale, I'm actually able to be like, maybe I won't spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and sell like 3 children in order to play games 10 years from now.
3?
Yeah. Exactly 3.
Oh, you don't like the Shah? You don't like Drunken Panda? Like so
yeah.
For myself. So
no, it's just gonna say like, yeah, Killer Clowns didn't go on sale at all. That's crazy to me.
Maybe because it's new.
Yeah, but like it's already tanking a little bit with the amount of people playing it. It's a perfect time to like punch it up. Just give like 10% off, 15%. I'll buy it.
Yeah, I know for me. So about a year or so ago, I sold my entire Switch collection and bought a Steam Deck. Best decision I ever made. But the problem with that is there was actually quite a few games that I played a lot that I have to rebuy. Like one of them that I recently repurchased was Dead Cells. I really love that game. That game is like the ultimate sit on the couch, put on a YouTube video, listen to the YouTube video while you play a game kind of stuff, which is like my favorite kind of gaming. Also, I play a lot of Pinball FX, and I always make sure to grab some tables when there's a Steam sale. Yes, Dead Cells is great. I'm going to have to rebuy their Return to Castlevania DLC at some point.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, see, that's brutal. Only 200 people playing a game that just came out.
Ouch. Yeah, that's
It's multiplayer only. That's brutal.
No bots?
I don't even know. I've wanted to jump into this game so badly, man.
Yeah.
I was gonna say on Dead Cells, are you excited for that new game by like Devolver Digital's doing something with like somebody who worked on Dead Cells, and it looks like 80s anime. It looks super good.
I
don't remember the name off the top of my head.
Jack?
No, Mullet Jack is a different thing, but like it's like pretty much got one guy that like created Dead Cells. He went and like made this other game with Devolver, and like the cutscenes are all like kind of Cowboy Bebop looking. But it looks otherwise like a generic kind of Devolver game. It's not like that crazy, but maybe you like it.
Okay.
I'll find the name later.
The thing is, the reason I like Dead Cells is it actually does kind of hit like scratch that Castlevania itch. Like that's why the DLC is so perfect. Because like the gameplay is like very similar to Castlevania. So Castlevania fits this game like a glove. And I love it. Plus, it's just really great to make a run. You know, do 1 or 2 runs. Plus, honestly, you're still making what I like is the cell system. So like when you make a run, you're still making progress. And I really like that. It's very satisfying. All right, let me check this out. Let me kind of check this out.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that looks gorgeous.
Right? I mean, the gameplay doesn't, but like the actual like cutscenes and stuff, I'm like, hey.
Yeah, the cutscenes are killer. I'm kind of fast forwarding it. Looking for.
Oh, I love pixel art.
Oh, okay. Is this like a twin stick shooter kind of game?
Like a bullet hell?
It could be, yeah. I've only seen whatever they showed on the brief trailer. It was more about the cutscenes than anything in that trailer.
Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, I don't know, but I'm like, hey, you know, anime, I'm in.
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So, Chris, did you grab anything?
So I have this strategy where I throw everything that remotely interests me into a wish list. And then whenever a sale comes on, like I get like spammed in my email, like, hey, come buy this shit. Yeah. And so I sort it like, okay, maybe this is my Hebrew heritage kicking in, but like I sort it by percentage of the sale. So if it's like below 70 or below 50%, I'm not interested. It's not considered.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
But like currently Neo Complete Edition is $11 or $11.50. That'll probably get in my cart. Doom Eternal is $9 right now.
Yeah.
Or $10. What else we got here? King Arthur Knight's Tale, $13. The Pumpkin Jack, another nice.
I prefer Dragon Tales, but it's all good.
Yeah. Let's see.
I only got the joke.
Yeah. Dungeon Fighter Duel, $14. Here's a good one. It's only 40% off, but Getsu Fumaden, The Undying Moon. It's, how do I explain this? It's like Castlevania on like brought to the 11th degree. It's insane. It's kind of like a Metroidvania / platformer / beat 'em up. And I'm
sold. Can you send me a link to this later? Because I'm not going to remember all those words you just said, but like it sounds great.
You said the right words in the right order.
Yeah, I was like, what? Castlevania up to 11? I'm in.
Hell yeah. So yeah, that's what I do is I'll add things, and like guys, the best place in my opinion to find the coolest indie games out there. This is gonna sound really weird. Twitter or X. I will get random people being like, "Hey, check out my game." Blah blah blah. I'm like, "Holy shit, that looks cool!" I follow the link, brings me right to the Steam thing. Add the wish list.
Oh, there's actually one that was kickstarted recently that I really do need to get. Have you guys heard of Godshard Chronicles?
What?
Um,
I always learn like 50 things when I'm on here. It's been 15
So-
minutes and I'm like, what?
Godshard Chronicles is kind of a mixture of I'm just gonna put the Steam page up. All right. Yeah, so it's like a mixture of like Chrono Trigger. Okay, Legend of Zelda, Grandia, and the Mana series.
Is this made in RPG Maker?
No.
ooh, that looks pretty.
It looks
Yeah,
pretty-ish, but it like kind of reminds me of some of the foundation of RPG Maker. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well,
It could have a Sea of Stars thing about it too. Maybe that's what I'm
Yeah,
seeing.
that's the other thing. Like Sea of Stars is like another big one.
Yeah.
you ever play Battle Axe? It's like a gauntlet
yeah.
style game. It
Hell
kind
yeah.
of reminds me of that art style.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
I mean, to be fair, theme tags, you know. Yeah, it does have.
Oh.
That's kind of,
Secret of Mana.
yeah, this is why
Like,
because
it
has,
does-
the
It has all the vibes of like really good JRPGs from when we were younger, but the problem is it has that touch of like, is this like amateurly made? Which is why I'm
just
like, is this
using
RPG Maker?
assets.
And then the fonts and stuff, like, you know when you see those games pop up and it's just always the same basic image and you're like, this was RPG Maker, I can tell in like 2
Yeah.
seconds. It's like got hints of that.
Well, my biggest gripe is the inconsistency in the art. Like, look at that. You got these really beautiful painted character portraits. Use that for your marketing. Do never use that in conjunction with your pixel art in your game. Make your
Yep.
game either all pixel art or all painterly. Don't do both.
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
Sweet.
Yeah, I see there is a bit of a thing, but I don't know. I've always loved like the Mana series, and this game just kind of scratches an itch for me.
Ooh, animated.
But like, why is it there's like anime cutscenes and then the the actual game looks different and you've got these
I think they're
portraits that are
trying-
like drawn by
well,
another person?
My argument is, I think they're trying to do like a Lunar kind of vibe, because remember Lunar, like on the Sega CD and the PlayStation,
Yes.
had like the
love those.
pixel and then the anime cutscenes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Is
think
there
it might
anyone
be-
known working on this, or is this just like a brand new thing?
I actually think they got one of the Lunar voice actors to do it.
Oh, okay.
I remember seeing that, and then
And they said Kickstarter, so is it already kickstarted, or is it like...
yeah, it's already kickstarted. It's already
Okay,
done.
gotcha.
Let me just zoom in here.
Oh, Grandia and Lunar. Okay, Wild Arms,
Ooh.
Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. Yeah, that's.
I mean,
that's
the
cool.
music is definitely being done.
Look, I already told him I don't watch a lot of movies, and then he asks me, "Do you want to come on and talk about this movie?" I will watch it for the first time for you, Phoenix. I will.
Yeah. So like, on the
I can't
audio
promise
end,
anything else.
I can definitely say on the audio end, they definitely got some talent.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, co-op
just-
though. Let's see what that is. 2-player co-op. Okay, character swapping. Yeah, like the Tales series kind of does this, right, with the 4-player format, where like you walk around on your own, but then you can play in match with them. But can you
Yeah.
walk around on the actual field with the co-op
I think
player?
so, because like I think they're trying to do like the Mana games, where like you had co-op and
Ah.
like Secret of Mana and whatnot.
Well,
Yeah, okay,
how do you
that's cool.
handle player distance? Like, does it basically instance the world based on the player? Because I'm assuming it's co-op internet only, not co-op local.
I
It
don't
said co-op.
know.
It said local, I think.
Oh, it did say local.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, you're
local.
right. It did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens? Does like somebody
And player
reach the
2
edge of
can
the
drop
screen?
in or out anytime.
Oh,
connecting
they do
to
the tails
basic-
effect.
Pretty much arcade rules, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they
Yeah,
go
I mean,
into a
that's-
little bubble.
Yeah, like Mario. They're just like,
Yeah.
"Woo."
Well, if they do it the way the Mana games do, you always have 2 or 3 characters following you at all times, and they like they're AI. But if you connect to the controller, they become player controlled, and then when they're not player controlled, they become AI again. I think that's what they do.
God, the pathing script on that must be a nightmare.
God.
Control, not controlled. Control.
Players
come
will
through
share the
screen.
same screen. So
That's where all the Kickstarter money went to, is just pathing that.
Yeah.
Oh god. But yeah.
I mean, that's cool, man. That's cool. I'm always down for more JRPGs. It's weird because on Steam, like, I agree, by the way, on the whole Twitter thing. Like, you go on Twitter and there's so many indie developers that are like, please look
That's
at
how
my
I found
game.
Godguard.
You know? And
That's
there's
how I
great
got
stuff in there. And, like, I've seen, like, there's some Valley Racers and stuff. There was one that I'm really looking forward to on Steam called Kingmakers. And I think Tiny Build is the publisher. But it's one of those games where it's, like, medieval and big war and, like, everything you do changes the environment. And the thing that sold me is, like, you can go into a building and bomb it, and that building's just gone. It's just gone
All
forever.
right.
And I'm like, that's
What?
amazing.
All right, I gotta give a shout out to I can't even pronounce it.
Hey, you,
Something
Dan.
Chronicles.
Aiden Chronicle?
Aiden Chronicles. You actually have former Suikoden staff working on this one. It's basically a Suikoden clone, but it actually has like the Suikoden staff who worked on it.
Yeah, but Phoenix, go back up to the screenshot, right? Where it's like 9 out of 10. Like, every time they do this, I'm unsold on your game.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to show me that 50 people that I don't trust to begin with gave you a high rating. It doesn't help you at all.
Journalism is dead.
Yeah.
But like, look at how good this looks. This looks actually
Oh, they're doing that. What was that game that came out that blended pixel with 3D environments?
cool. 2D HD.
Yeah, there was an RPG that came out on the Switch that did it really well, and it had a sequel. And then they did the
Not
Unicorn
Romance
King?
Saga. No. Oh, Unicorn Overlords? No.
Yeah. There was a game prior to that. It was I hate being
Odin
I'm
Sphere?
really digging.
No, it was pixel art where they used pixel sprites, and then like all of the environments were like 3D, and they did this blurring effect where it made everything look miniature.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like Octopath Traveler and whatnot.
Yeah, that's what it was. Octopath.
Yeah, the 2D HD style that Square does.
Yeah.
Have you played the
There's
Star
Beyblades?
Ocean?
Why were there Beyblades there? What's happening?
Because they wanted to let it rip.
What were you asking
man.
if we played Star Ocean? I
The
think
Star
it's
Ocean
called
remake.
not the remake. I tried the demo. It looked good. I'm still
Yeah,
playing
the
through the
Star Ocean second
360
story.
one. Whatever the 360 one is. Lost Ocean?
I played through most of the PSP remake of Part 1, and that's really good. That's been re-released, but they did a full 2D HD. But this looks so good. This looks so
Yeah, it
good.
does.
So are you picking this up, Phoenix? Is that what you're telling us?
Possibly. I'm kind of waiting for Star Ocean to get a little bit cheaper before I pick it up, though.
Oh boy, you make my people proud.
Oh my god!
That was beautiful. I love that.
All right. Let's move on to the next.
Did you ask Nyx what she's getting on the Steam
Nyx,
sale? No,
what
I
do
don't
you-
think so.
Did you get anything on the Steam sale?
Not yet, but I'm planning on getting a Disney Dreamlight Valley, the gold
Ooh.
edition, for me and my nieces to enjoy all together.
Nice.
It was sold to me when people on Twitter were talking about it, going on about how it's basically Animal Crossing New Horizons meets Disney and
Yeah.
Pixar.
Oh,
And I was like, well, that's great because I like the older Disney movies and I really like Animal Crossing. My older niece likes Animal Crossing, and my youngest niece, she likes mermaids, so she likes Ariel.
nice.
She'll be sold on
Chocolate
that.
peanut butter.
Perfect.
Perfect Venn diagram. I know that like when my paycheck comes in, I might actually get one of the $30 games. Possibly Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm not sure. But
Definitely get that on. Wait, remake or rebirth? Remake, right? Remake is
Remake.
fine, but rebirth. Wait on it.
I don't
Yeah.
think Rebirth has come to PC yet, so.
I mean, I
It-
bought
no,
it
it
day
will.
one, and I'm still like not even. I just stopped playing it, so
Rebirth is controversial.
Well,
it's like
you
not even
mark
the
my words.
controversy. It just sucks because they made the world so freaking big, and it's like I'm drained just looking at what I need to do.
I mean,
been
have you
5
played
minutes.
the original Final Fantasy VII?
Yes, I've played the original Final Fantasy VII, but like they bloat this to no tomorrow. It's not normal. I
mean-
love
I mean,
long
you're
JRPGs. I'm a
Have you
Tales fan.
played Remake? They stretch an hour. An hour.
Yeah, but
2 hours
Remake-
max of gameplay into 20.
Remake is a linear experience to some degree, at least. You feel like, okay, I'm going to the next story point within the next 30 minutes. With this one, it's like you're literally like, here's an open field, enjoy. And then you're like, there's nothing in this open field. And they just drag you through things. And you have this guy, Chadley, whatever his name is, calling you every 5 minutes, being like, can you guys go investigate this? But there's no story involved. It's like side mission constantly.
It's like an MMO.
Yeah.
You.
I can't deal with it,
analysis
man.
paralysis.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right.
My biggest issue with it is the fact that they've updated it, quote unquote, for a modern audience, and it completely removes context from like certain points of the original story to make it more progressive. And it's like, no, stop that! Don't be ashamed of your roots.
I'm not an
embrace
I'm not
your roots. They made you
audience.
rich.
Yeah, exactly.
By updating the modern audience, they mean everyone's black and everyone's gay now.
Yep, and women are infallible. You can't have a single flawed character that's got a.
I have to play the clip.
Chicken it and make a name it gay.
Yeah, it's really shied me away. Like anytime I hear for modern audiences or something in like a promotion or like an interview, I'm like, okay, you just anti-sold me. Like I may have been interested, but not anymore. Thanks. Goodbye.
Well, the modern audience doesn't exist. They're not gamers.
Nope.
That's the thing.
Not at all.
No.
Yeah, they just want their like ideology. Well, that's the thing is they want their ideology instead of they moved in. They basically like pretend this is a living room and you're enjoying something on television. You're sitting on the couch watching TV. And then somebody comes in, sits down and says, oh, what are you watching? You're like, oh, I'm watching X show. And they're like, oh, well, and they grab the remote and start flipping the channels on you. What's the matter? Don't you like watching TV? Come on. What are you? Dude, I was watching something else. You're just a bigot.
That is the perfect analogy. Like, I couldn't have said that better myself.
I'm going to have to say the SW word. So, did you hear like Disney recently released a study? And apparently 70% of their audience is male. After 10 years of trying to turn this into a chick franchise, 70% of their audience is still male. Oh my God, most Star Wars fans are dudes. Who knew?
Well, that says that the 30% of women enjoy that male-orientated entertainment. So what you just did was by making this like, the girly stuff or whatever, you just turned off that 30% of the female demographic that enjoyed it for what it was when they came into the fandom.
Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly.
Did you guys watch? Okay, so I'm going through Acolyte right now. I'm sorry, Phoenix. I know you have other stuff to talk about.
No hate watching. No hate watching.
So no, like I don't care to watch it at all. I cared to watch Ahsoka because I actually really like Ahsoka and Clone Wars. So I actually wanted to watch the Ahsoka show. I did watch it. I was disappointed.
I'll give you Ahsoka. At least you had
But with Acolyte, the thing is, James is like a huge Star Wars fan. I'm a big Star Wars fan, but he's a giant Star Wars fan to the point where he wants to watch, even if he knows it's not going to be great, he's still going to watch everything that comes out Star Wars as long as he can. So that's why we're watching Acolyte. The first 10 minutes, I was like, I'm so exhausted watching this. And I just like watched the episode where there's like forced babies and lesbians. And I'm just like, I can't even believe, like, I feel disgusting. Yeah.
What?
I feel gross being here. Like, I was just like, I can't handle any of this anymore.
It's our Latin life.
Yeah.
The power of one gangbang, the power of Benny.
So
Force babies?
So
yes.
Yes. Forced twins, in fact.
James, I actually, I'm really sorry, but I installed a camera in your living room, and I actually recorded a live reaction of you watching The Acolyte.
That's how I felt the entire time. We have trouble not pausing in anger. Hello. We get like, because every like few minutes I can't even hold it back. Sometimes I'm just yelling at the TV. I'm just like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever fucking seen.
You didn't see that coming?
No, I know. I saw it coming. I didn't even want to watch The Acolyte, okay?
Wait, Melee. He cut his own legs off. Please tell me you're there to stitch him back on.
Yeah, of course. Hello. What do you think?
Did you
That's
have
what I'm
a
here
lightsaber?
for. Yes. With several.
Yeah, no, and then when James needed a haircut, did you bust out the lightsaber?
Well, yeah, that's what the dark saber's for. We got it ready and primed to go.
Oh my God. I knew as soon as I said I knew as soon as I brought up Star Wars that this is where it would go, and I still did it anyway.
Well, that's just prime.
Well, because like the thing is with Ahsoka, you said like the whole girl audience thing. Ahsoka feels like it was written by women for women, but like the most obnoxious women on the planet. Like literally, Ahsoka just does like the clapback black girl thing, where she's like, "Oh no, you didn't! Oh my god, we're on a ship, girl!" Like that kind of shit. I'm just like, I don't know what I'm dealing with here. And like it's soul crushing. It is honestly soul crushing. I loved Ahsoka's character in Clone Wars. There are some good moments in the Ahsoka show. I will give it that. If you're a big prequel fan, you might like certain parts if you're an Ahsoka fan too. But it's awful, and it's just women being like, "Yes, girl, you're great. Oh my god, yeah, that girl is so great at like using the Force." And I'm like, "What the hell?"
Queen.
So
Yeah,
I
no
also
woman
have
is like
another,
that with another woman.
I actually
No.
do have another clip of James yelling at the TV.
Your words are as empty as your soul. Die, monster. You don't belong in this world.
Yeah. God.
Fractured. I agree that Ahsoka was trash, like the show, but there's one or two moments that, as a like Clone Wars fan, I was like, okay, this
I
is
have no
tolerable.
connection to the Clone Wars, and Ahsoka is basically like another season of Rebels, which I watched a little bit of it and it was fine. I liked Ahsoka in Mandalorian. I think Rosario was great. Was
Oof,
good in that.
she was so far gone by then, bro. She was so far. Like if you haven't seen Clone Wars, she's actually good in Clone Wars. I grew to love her. Like I didn't like her when I first saw her, but by the time she gets to Mandalorian or anything, it's just like, what is this?
Whoa! That's interesting, but I sure don't care.
Neither do I. Okay.
I'm sorry, you're just setting me up. You're setting me up for these clips.
Well, I'm just saying. If you're gonna compliment Mandalorian Ahsoka, at least watch Clone Wars, where she's actually good.
Well, it's because they can't like it's
JT
about
gets
the
it.
inability, like the inability to like get any kind of criticism or receive any kind of negative feedback. Like the whole Slay Queen, yes, Queen. Like nobody likes that. Nobody does, and the people who say they do are only pushing an ideology. Like they don't care about the property. They're tourists.
Exactly.
Well, and the thing is, that's Star Wars right now. Star Wars is made up of tourists, like the uber casuals, and the clout chasers. Once the tourists and the clout chasers leave, the casuals are just going to move on to something else. All hardcore Star Wars fans are gone. They have been Order 66. I'm sorry. I saw the meme.
Do it.
Do it.
Yeah, and it sucks because it's like a souffle. You know, once you start building for the modern audience that doesn't exist, you start hollowing out, you know, the foundation that made your property like valuable, and then you cleared away all of your hardcore fans. And I don't even refer to them as hardcore, just fans, just normal people that really enjoyed something. So that the tourists move in to fill up that space, but because they're fickle, you know, it's like the TikTok generation, they'll go on to the next, and they just leave that empty space there, and then the souffle implodes. And they've done it to
the
every
only Disney Star Wars film that I like genuinely enjoyed, and you guys would probably know what I'm going to say, is Rogue One.
Yeah.
That's the only one that actually felt like a Star Wars film and actually felt like, you know, had that like a magic.
I think that's the common opinion. If you're gonna like any Disney, it's gonna be Rogue One. I didn't hate Rebels either. Like if we're talking about anything Disney, I didn't hate Rebels, and I didn't hate Tales from the Jedi either. I thought Tales from the Jedi was good.
I saw season 1. Some of the stuff was better than others. Like I'm sorry that one anime one where the guy's doing a concert and he like jumps up really high. That was stupid. But like the samurai one, like that was pretty cool. And I'm going to say this, Mandalorian season 1 and season 2 are actually kind of enjoyable. Season 1 is great. Season 2 is iffy.
Well, yeah, I mean, Mandalorian, it's like they kind of borrowed some stuff from KOTOR as well. That's why it worked. Like, there was literally one episode that they're fighting this creature, and I'm like, this is just a part of KOTOR. Like,
I know exactly the episode. It's the episode where he's on Tatooine, and he has to fight the crate dragon because they're trying to get the crate pearl, which was literally a plot. Like they literally lifted that plot line directly from.
It's KOTOR. It's like, thank you. You made a live action KOTOR episode, and I didn't hate it because I love KOTOR.
Also, to be fair, Rebels, they had an entire like couple episodes on a planet from KOTOR 2.
Yeah, I mean, Rebels, like, I hate Ezra. That's really the thing. I hate Ezra and I hate Sabine. The rest is not terrible. Hera is kind of annoying too, actually. Really, I just like Chopper and Kanan. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I'm with
They have
James
Freddie
here,
Prinze
like,
Jr. They got
I'm glad-
points for me.
Yeah, Freddie Prinze Jr., exactly.
I'm glad Kyle got retconned out of existence because, yeah, he's like the perfect like Han Solo-esque Jedi character. I love Kyle Katarn.
Well, wasn't he what Finn was supposed to be?
Sorry, I was saying yes to what Fractured was saying because Fractured said the most perfect comment ever. The girl that played young Ahsoka did a better job at combat. Literally. Literally. They cast this child. The child?
I think she played young Gamora in like.
Oh my god, you could be right. She looked like a young Gamora. I call her Gamunda, but that's like
I
a
think
deep
she
cut.
was the one who said like who met Thanos in the Soul Stone.
Yeah, the balance.
You might be right. No, literally the like young Ahsoka was like way better at lightsaber combat. I'm like, this is so embarrassing.
I will say this. My thing is, I like the idea of Kylo Ren. You know, the unfinished diamond, the whole burden of legacy. There was kind of an interesting story there. Also, they did Finn dirty. Like, Finn should have been the protagonist, and Rey should have been like the other protagonist who goes evil.
Well, like
they basically could have gave.
Yeah, but you can't have Jason now. You can't have Jason now. You know why? Because in Ahsoka, they named Hera's son Jason.
Also, Ben.
The exact same spelling and everything for no reason.
Also, Ben Skywalker. That was Ben Skywalker was Luke and Mara's kid.
Yep, which makes more sense to call him Ben because Princess Leia and Han Solo. How much exposure did they have other than the retcon crap with that Kenobi series? Did Princess Leia really have with Ben Kenobi to name their child Ben? Like that made no sense.
And here's the other problem: is no matter how much gas, I love how this just turned into like Star Wars sucks. I knew this was whatever. This is the Friday Night Frenzy, people. Topics mean nothing. But you know. Years ago, you served my father in the Clone Wars. The way she speaks, she has never actually met him. I don't care how much gaslighting you try and do. You're talking
about like Kenobi show where like literally they had go on this whole adventure together, and it's like you made like a buddy cop movie out of like Princess Leia. Oh my god, it's so embarrassing.
Remember when they're smuggling about in the trench coat? Like it was like, really? This is what Star Wars has become.
Also, I loved how they just blatantly ripped off Jedi Fall. I mean, to be fair, it's still canon, but like, you know, with the Inquisitorium, I don't know. Yeah, Jedi Fallen Order.
I won't even touch those EA games, and I can't.
Fallen Order is install good. Origins.
I've watched James play through Fallen Order. He's currently playing through Jedi Survivor. I miss the like more hack and slash kind of feel of the older games personally, and I loved the. What?
Can you read that, please?
Is that a princess in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me, Obi-Wan?
You're a little bit too short for a Jedi.
Oh.
Well, hello, my friend.
What about Yoda? He was a Jedi. He was short. Can't discount him.
Short.
Oh yeah, remember?
But strong.
No, you remember? So in the original trilogy, which in my opinion, that's all that exists. Everything else is just fan fiction. But like in the original trilogy, there's a line where Luke Skywalker completely dismisses Yoda because he's like, I'm looking for a great Jedi master. He was a great Jedi warrior or whatever. And like he completely dismisses the fact that the little green like gremlin thing is actually the Jedi master. And he goes, "War does not make one great," you know. And it's like they completely threw that out, and they're like, "Yes, all the badass Jedis have rainbow-colored lightsabers. We are so cool." And it was like, you guys missed the whole point of the philosophical aspects of the trilogy just to put in a bunch of directors' kids, give them freaking fruit-colored lightsabers, and swing shit around. Like, it looks stupid now.
Well, yeah, obviously they were. That would require actually watching the original movies and like understanding them.
Yeah,
that's a little too much to ask.
Well, like there's memes now where they're like, Lightsaber impalements are lethal, but now they're not. They show like
No,
a
they're
scene
not.
of like Qui-Gon. Yeah,
The only person who got nerfed by a lightsaber now is Qui-Gon. He's the weakest Jedi ever, apparently, according to Disney.
because
It's
he's
like,
a white
what?
male.
Man, it pisses me off so
Because,
much. I love
let's be
Qui-Gon.
honest. Let's be
Same.
honest. If Qui-Gon wasn't alive, Anakin would have never fallen to the dark side.
Interesting you make that argument. I was in a debate about that like a month ago because I do think it would have maybe delayed it. I don't know for sure if it would have prevented it, but Anakin would have had a father figure that actually could train him properly. And
Well,
I think
okay,
that would have made a big difference.
Here's the problem with Anakin in episode 3. Our boy needs some goddamn therapy. Like, he has nobody he can open up to. The only person he can talk to is the Emperor, okay? Like, obviously, he cares about Obi-Wan, but Qui-Gon is such a rogue kind of person. He would be comfortable opening up opening up to Qui-Gon about it, and Qui-Gon would give him some straight advice. Qui-Gon would probably say, "All right, they're going to kick you out of the Order, but you're already a war hero. Your girlfriend's rich. You already knocked her up, so her parents are going to take care of you." I'm sorry. Like, you're a war hero. You're already a famous Force user. You're going to be fine. So even if the Jedi kick you out, you're going to be fine.
I don't know if Qui-Gon would do that speech necessarily, but I think he would at least guide Anakin onto a better path.
I'm being uber casual about it for comedic.
No, I know, but I just don't know if Qui-Gon would even be like, oh, it doesn't matter if you're dismissed from the council. Like, I think he would try to push Anakin on a better path overall.
Oh, he would. I think he
would fight for him to stay in the council.
I just don't think Palpatine would be able to get his hooks into Anakin because he would always be confiding into Qui-Gon.
That part I agree with.
And I actually think him and Obi-Wan's relationship would be even better in this. Maybe a little bit more distant, but they would be on better terms.
You look at Obi-Wan's like feelings, and I'm a big Phantom Menace fan, right? So like, you look at how Obi-Wan, yes, Obi-Wan has so much doubt. Oh no,
it's just giant Jerry cannons.
Oh no, but like Obi-Wan doesn't really have faith in Anakin, right? Like Qui-Gon's the only one that really has faith in him in episode 1. So I feel like that really kind of affects Obi-Wan's relationship with Anakin. Obviously, they, we're brothers, all this stuff, but I still feel like Obi-Wan didn't have quite as much faith in Anakin as like Qui-Gon did. You need somebody who has like relentless faith in you in order to overcome things like this.
Chris! see, this is what happens.
He's not wrong. Why are you shaking your finger at him?
This is what happens.
Trust your heart. You know this is to be true.
Chris, this is what happens when women are raised on kosher milk.
On what? Kosher milk?
Aye, mate. Never mix your milk with your dairy.
All right. Well, let's actually try and get back on track here. So,
as I eat a cheeseburger.
Yeah. Let's end the Star Wars discussion, which I'm pretty sure we're gonna get like suckered back into it later on the stream. Melee, how dare you? So I do have some updates, and I also have some something important to share. So quick update on Turn Salmon number 4. It is at the printers. It's been there almost 2 weeks, so I should hear back probably sometime next week. And I just shipped off some stuff to the shipper to Critical Blast to get you guys. So I'm hoping to have Turn Samurai to you within the next few weeks. Also, I'm just gonna say, Screecher 3 is in development, but I'm not going to give any more updates until Turn Samurai is shipped. I just feel like it's better that way, more respectful, and we're shooting for an October release date. That's all the information you're getting for right now. But I will say, so this is a big deal. I have a book, and it is now currently up for pre-launch on Kickstarter. So it is a book called Lost Kingdom, a fantasy novel set in space. I could not resist. So it's meant to be kind of like a mixture of sci-fi, fantasy, So we're talking about Star Wars here for a moment. Basically, imagine kind of like a Star Wars-esque tale set from Obi-Wan's perspective, where Luke is a brat and a very annoying brat. Now he's got to deal with it. Set in our universe, it's really great. And then the other thing is, I wanted to show you the cover art. So let me just take this down. And the cover art was made by my good pal Xevious. The dressing is temporary, just kind of something to kind of give you an idea. We will have something new. Yeah, Melee K, look at that artwork. Isn't it nice?
It actually looks pretty good. I like it.
Sweet.
Yeah, Xevious just... Oh, Jesus Christ, John. You came in just... It's like I started talking about books, and then all of a sudden you appeared. So basically, I'm going for an editor. Like, I'm basically just raising money for an editor and hopefully to print off books as well. The first draft is already done, and you will get that at the end of the campaign when you back it. So basically, I'm looping you in to be a beta reader as well. And I actually... Yes, exactly. And I will say, we actually have a very good editor on board. So Daniel P. Riley. They have a cream for that, sir. So Daniel P. Riley is serving as the editor for this book. And he's well known in the Iron Age scene. So yeah. If you want to sign up for an update, the pre-launch link is in the description. Please sign up now. Pre-launch is live. We are going to be launching it August 2nd, so about a month or so from now. It's going to be really great. Pre-launch has begun, and I am excited.
Very cool.
So, with that all being said,
Hello, boys! I'm back!
all right. So we're finally here for the main event. 47 minutes and Independence Day, best movie ever. So before Melee K destroys my childhood, I want to hear from the other co-hosts here what they have to say. So Nix, what's your history of this movie and what's your thoughts on it?
I've watched it now maybe twice. I'm not its biggest fan. My grandfather loves it. He thinks it's great. But I like Will Smith in it. He's charming, very charming. This is pre-wife debacle. So
oh my god, I see her face. She's trying so hard. Chris, what's your history with this movie and what do you think of it?
So this movie came out right around after I graduated high school, and I went to see it with a bunch of my friends and their mother. And long story short, one of the most traumatic events of my life happened where after we got out of the theater, after the movie ended, we're all going back to the car. And the mom's like, it was a really good movie. I just couldn't stand that filthy Jew.
What? What?
So apparently,
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, so apparently Judd Hirsch's role as the stereotypical Hebrew icon. Apparently she didn't realize that one of the cryptics was amongst her friends or whatever. But like,
I should have put on a tie. Look like a Shamil.
Yeah, I sat there in complete like shock. It was like somebody went behind me and just like hit the double symbols or whatever. I was just like, what? Like I just sat there real quiet the whole time. And
so Chris,
it kind of
this was your reaction. This is your reaction when they said that.
Oh my god.
No, I was just numb. So it kind of took away my initial kind of impact of the film. So I had to rewatch it like a second or third time. And so the movie, like I'll say it right off the bat, this movie is like this movie, if you have a lobotomy, this is one of the best movies ever. Because you can't watch this with a functioning. Well, no, you can't watch this movie with a functioning prefrontal cortex because instantly, as soon as questions start getting asked, the movie falls apart like a house of cards. But
See, I think there's something to be said for that kind of cinema where just turn your brain off and have fun.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get at. It's like,
my God! Oh God!
Yeah, is it exactly? But like, it is a perfect zeitgeist of like
also,
the
John,
80s and...
check your DMs. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So it's a perfect zeitgeist of the 80s and 90s where it captures like the jingoism and the national pride, which honestly I love. I miss that. I miss actually liking and cheering for the home team. I hate these Marxist assholes that have invaded our media where they make everything cool about deconstructionism and shitting all over like America for some reason. But like, I love that stupid like sports team cheer that movie evoked. But again, the movie is like criminally stupid. Like but it's fun stupid. Again, this is a movie you have in the background, and when shit explodes or like the snappy quip one-liners, "Welcome to Earth," and like, on behalf of my generation, up yours. Like, okay, yeah, I can look and go like, yay. But like, if you sit down and seriously watch this, especially with like an adult mind, in current year, and you're sitting there watching this, the first thing that's going to hit you is that inescapable wave of cynicism where you're like, oh my God, they spent so much money on these special effects for this? Because they tried to do it again with the sequel, and the sequel was awful.
Okay, I need to cut in here. So, talking about the sequel doesn't exist. Like,
yes.
So, Independence Day is a so bad it's good movie. I think that's fair to say. But like, I've kind of like pondered like, why does Independence Day work? And then the sequel doesn't. And I think it can be really summed up in there's only one scene in Resurgence where I ever actually cared. And that's where Vivica A. Fox's character is killed. And I think it's Independence Day does a really good job of making you care about the characters. Like, they actually take the time to give these characters a personality, a trait. These characters are not cardboard cutouts. They're kind of people, in a sense. Well, they're more three-dimensional than what we have now. Let's just say that much. Okay, you can argue, but I think that point is fair. And just you kind of care about the characters, and like they have little bits of character arcs, and I don't know, it's just very enjoyable, in my opinion. There is data-related drinking rules.
Oh no.
Everything is better than current year.
It really is. It really
Melee,
is.
do not watch the sequel, please, for the love of God.
It's so bad.
If you do, make sure you have a drinking game handy.
Oh, we already had one for the first one, so we'll definitely drink for the second one.
Melee, destroy my childhood.
First of all, it sounds like they destroyed your childhood. I didn't have to say anything. I made a few faces and my point was articulated, but if you want me to dive into this movie, I will. Because I sat through this whole thing for you. I sat through an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours? I don't even know. It felt like 10 hours. I was like, why am I here? But that's fine. That's fine. Look, I'll give it the one compliment. It did have that nice vibe of patriotism to it. And I did appreciate it for that. But I will go to They Live or Red Dawn or any of the other very great patriotic films and still feel equally as satisfied. So that's not enough. Thank you for showing the generic alien. Here's one of the biggest points here. This alien is so boring. There is no plot to this alien whatsoever. Who cares? I wasn't even scared when I saw it. I was like, okay, cool. Like,
Oh my God.
this guy was annoying, and he just constantly, I need to call my mother, my lawyer, my, brother. I need to call everyone. This is crazy.
You're my lawyer.
And I was like, okay, he's annoying.
No, even better. I'm the gay Jewish character.
Oh,
Sure.
right. 2 checkboxes.
Regardless, he was kind of annoying. I don't hate Jeff Goldblum at all. I quite like him, but even his character is like really like every 5 seconds you're just doing a Jeff Goldblum like caricature. I loved the dad, actually. I thought he was great. It made kind of some of the scenes funny, especially when, like, Jeff Goldblum starts, like, having a meltdown over, like, oh my god, they're gonna nuke him. Oh no, the poor environment. It's like the entire world is getting destroyed, sir, and you're worried about, like, recycling a cup. Like, can you, like, chill out? Like, it just, like, that's...
Though.
What's that?
I said legit, though. Priorities, man.
It's like the whole time, it's like they're supposed to give this message about like, oh, you know, we want to save the earth and protect the earth. And it's like, the earth is getting destroyed, bro. Like, if you got to fire a few nukes to save the world, then you can worry about the water and all this stuff later. Like, don't worry so much. So that's what I found annoying about his character is he was just driven by this whole like, yeah, we got to protect the earth. But like, blah, blah. Anyways, Will Smith's character made like no sense to me because he was simping for a stripper. And I didn't even realize that wasn't his kid. I didn't realize that was just like a stripper single mom and he was like taking care of them or something.
What?
And I think so. And then
wait. So you have a problem with Will Smith playing a character where by the way, I disagree with you, but I'm doing this for the meme.
Okay.
Where Will Smith he plays a character where he gets with a woman who sells herself for a living and basically gets totally cucked out.
Keep my wife's name out of your goddamn mouth.
I mean, that's his real life already. We get that. That's fine. But in the plot of the story, I'm
James
just like...
understood the assignment.
Yeah, like, I this whole time thought they were just like a family unit. And then I think at one point I'm like, is that actually his kid or her kid and whatever and his kid? And then James was like, no, I think that's just the stripper mom's kid. And I'm like, what? Then why does he care so much? It is his kid. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, thank God. I was about to say.
Okay, then I have bigger questions. Why are you like married and having a kid with a stripper and then you're totally fine with them just dancing around?
Actually, it's not.
Is it or is it not? Schrodinger's child.
Yeah.
Okay,
well,
there's
in the sequel, it's his dad.
There's a lot. Okay. There's you know that scene where she's talking to the first lady, and he says, does his dad live here? And she says, no, but I was hoping he would want the job. So it's not.
What does that mean? Okay, so he's either a stepdad cuck or a dad cuck. I don't know which one, but he's a cuck.
He's the dad who stepped up.
No, in the sequel,
why does she need to be okay, whatever.
Yeah, in the sequel, they because they got rid of Will Smith, but they kept his son, and his son becomes a fighter pilot in the space alien ships. And he refers to him as his dad. He never refers to him as like my stepdad or any of that stuff.
Anyways, I don't know. Will Smith was a cuck in this film. It's not very different from his real life, as Phoenix tried to articulate. I was like, okay, yeah, and he's got his Will Smithisms. Oh yeah, look at me, welcome to Earth. I'm like,
Who's the man?
I knew you were gonna do that. I knew it.
The best line in the movie is when she's like, "You're not as charming as you think you are." He's like, "Yes, I am." That should not work as a line. But
to be fair, it's Will Smith. Like Will Smith
is that damn charming.
Like I'm sorry, Will Smith is that charming, especially during that time. Like Will Smith.
I liked him in Fresh Prince. That's really about it for me.
Hardcore.
I will give you the smallest nitpick in the world that I was yelling at, and it would make sense to no one. So
really? James, yes. If you want to film that,
I've seen Wild Wild West. What do you mean?
I don't want to watch that again. I used to.
So this like if we want to make Millie watch a film that is objectively worse than Independence Day, we could do that.
No, you got to make her watch the music video. Wild Wild West.
Phoenix,
oh my God! No,
Phoenix, you've been
Burger King commercials.
Look, you've been saying that I've been alley-ooping you or whatever for all these different lines. You telling me that there's a worse film than Independence Day? Robin Hood, the other film you made me watch, sir. I'm sorry.
Oh, all right. Hey, you are the first person beyond Jared that I've done that to you. You think about what you have done.
I have nothing to think about. I stand by what I said. I hated Robin Hood, so I'm giving Independence Day more of a chance. I'm just saying. Anyways, we're not talking about that film.
Oh god.
The scene that like annoyed me, and there's two scenes that really annoyed me. So one of them that annoyed me was they're talking in the house, right? Will Smith and his stripper wife. I don't know the context there, but anyways, so they're talking in the house, and he's like, "I gotta go, baby," or whatever. I don't remember the dialogue. I was just so stunned by this moment where he opens the door to go out, and then she's like, "Look what's going on out there," and she like opens the blinds, and it's like he has the door open like 10 feet away from you. He can see what's going on out there. Why did you need to do that?
The context of the scene is they're arguing like, "Why are you angry, babe? Why am I angry?" That. So it's
he
a
can
little more
already
understandable.
see. He can already see out there. It was a stupid scene.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here saying that's worth not liking the film over, but it's just like little things. It's like
It's the Robin Hood that speaks with an English accent.
Yes, Men in Tights. Not what is it? What was it called again?
Men in
Robin Hood, Men in
Tights.
Tights. Yeah, okay, that one. That was terrible. Anyways, so
Oh,
my point is that it articulates what was said earlier, which is the more you think about this film, the less it like makes sense, the less it's enjoyable.
That's why before every viewing of the film, I take a metal pipe and hit myself 3 times.
Perfect. That makes more sense now. Why didn't you tell me to do that? You
Well,
should have given me the heads up.
Because then James would have done it 4 times and you'd be dead.
You could have mailed me a pipe to do it with too. Isn't that what you do when you invite people on your show?
Mail them pipes. I for the purposes of my lawyer has advised me to say no. I do not do that.
That is a good man right there.
To my lawyer.
The other okay, so this is the other thing that really bothered me about this film, okay? So I thought the film was trying to take itself seriously. And I could have gone with the "it's so bad, it's good" argument if this one scene didn't happen. Boomer the dog doing a Michael Bay jump away from an explosion.
no!
At this point,
So
you're not taking your film seriously. So are you a comedy? You're a bad comedy then. Like, what are you? What is
jump
this
from the
film?
green screen.
They just had to let everyone know in the audience that the dog did, in fact, not die.
Yeah, and I was
Yeah,
almost
but-
pissed off because I thought they were going to kill off the dog, and then they didn't, and I was like, great, but like, did you really have to have him do a Michael Bay explosion to get
And
there?
apparently,
But it wasn't even like.
and apparently, the alien invasion was so bad that the dog got imprinted with search and rescue training. In the meantime,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, just the explosion when the dog jumped. Like that whole scene itself wouldn't have like if there's an explosion through a tunnel, okay, which is what happened. They were in like a underpass or whatever, like a tunnel.
yeah.
Like you would think that the burst of flames. Remember, this isn't just like wind. This is, which by the way isn't linear.
Fire!
This is
Fire!
yeah. This is an expansive element, a gas that is expanding rapidly through this tunnel. Somehow ignores a large opening where a woman and a dog jump through.
Thank
right,
you! Thank you!
right,
Oh, you found
so-
a door! Congratulations!
So,
Like, seriously.
Hello, John. I'm sorry. I just
Hello.
noticed that you were in the stream. I am so sorry.
That's all right. Hello. The old guy has to come in here and provide a little context for some of the youngsters. Hello, everybody.
All right. Independence Day. Worst or best movie ever?
I've been listening while I've been making supper. We're having cheeseburger quesadillas tonight, and the kids love them.
Oh God,
And,
that sounds really good.
Something y'all got to understand about this movie, the way it was received. A big part of that was when this was initially coming out, and I'm probably of the oldest vintage here. When this was coming out, like
I don't
this
know.
was
Chris might have you beat.
this was before the advent of everybody had the internet in their house, so like there was not a lot of social media aspects to this.
It existed, but
The marketing leading up to this was really mum on what this movie actually was about. There was the aspect of the special effects, and we had a lot of movies in the 90s where the special effects were like features on like news magazine shows. Everyone want to talk about how'd you do this shot, how'd you do the special effect. The destruction special effects for this were a big talk about it, but more than that, no one really knew what it was about. There was the pictures of the White House exploding, the aliens swarming in at the army base, and that was almost it. That was almost all you saw. Once everybody went and saw it, like, oh, it's an alien invasion movie. But this was the height of Jeff Goldblum. This was the height when this made Will Smith a star because he was on one of the
done Men in Black before this. Like,
did that come out before this? I thought it came out after.
I thought it came out after it too.
I don't know. He kind of had like that 1-2 combo of Men in Black and Independence Day. That's kind of what made him.
Yeah, and so there was this kind of like, what is Independence Day about? Everybody wanted to go and see it, and then FOMO started to kick in. Everybody knew everybody else was watching Independence Day.
Yeah.
Personally, I love this. It's perfect. Turn your brain off. B movie schlock. It's fun. It's aliens invading Earth, and it uses the rule of cool to sweep a lot of shit under the rug. That
must go faster. Must go faster.
Yeah. Sure, that was great. I kind of like this era of
forget about the fat lady. You're obsessed with the fat lady.
Oh yeah, there was just a lot of great things to enjoy about it. But
I've got to get me one of these.
Oh God, Welcome to Earth, man! Dude, I saw this twice in theaters, and the theaters were dying every time.
Yeah,
I will say, like rewatching it, I do think the film is a little bit too quippy. Like there's a little bit too many like quips. Like the film is insanely quotable. Gentlemen, let's plow the road. Like there's a lot of really good memorable stuff. Like everyone at the playground was quoting this movie.
Oh, you did not shoot that green shit at me.
Yeah.
God, one of my favorites. Like, you got to remember, we were coming off of the 80s, the big muscle-bound, quippy action stars of the 80s. And, like, nobody really had that kind of attitude into it. Like, Will Smith was just this extra dimension to action heroes. And it was great. Yeah. He did great. I wish he still had it.
Yeah.
I miss that jingoism, though. I miss that, we call it patriotism or whatever, but I miss rooting for the home team.
Yeah, and this kind of has like a 50s feel to it of people uniting to fight a common cause. Like, I actually did like the scene with the Morse code scene. And there's one detail in it where it kind of showed that like the Jews and the Palestinians actually said like, all right, let's stop blowing each other up. Let's try to blow up these aliens. And actually, I actually watched the extended version for this one, and there's actually a couple more shots where they really hammer home like, shit is so bad. Even the Jews and the Palestinians have agreed to stop fighting. That's how bad things are.
That went way over my head as a kid. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
But we do have to talk about like the famous speech. Now I can't play it because copyright. But I'm going to do.
You don't have to play it. I have it memorized.
I am going to read it. I am going to do the performance. So
do we need some background music?
Well, let's see what I have. Let's see what I have here.
70s porno music. It's supposed to be patriotic and it's a giant rousing speech.
I'm just like going off of like what's here. So
yeah.
All right, I'm just gonna do it the way Melee likes it, raw.
What?
If you could see, I'm sorry, I had. All right, that was a reference to the pre-show. Sorry. All right. Good morning. In less than an hour, aircraft from here will join others from around the world, and you will be launching the largest aerial battle in its history of mankind. Mankind. That word should have new meaning for all of us today. We can't be consumed by your petty differences anymore. We will be united in our common interest. Perhaps it's fate that today is 4th of July, and you will once again be fighting for our freedom. Not from tyranny, oppression, or persecution, but from annihilation. We're fighting for our right to live, to exist. And should we win the day, the 4th of July will no longer be known as an American holiday, but as the one day that we declared in one voice, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Today we celebrate our Independence Day.
He said the
I love how John just.
But yeah, I love the patriotism. I love the rousing everybody under a single united front. We don't get that anymore. Everything now is all like everything, like everybody's bad. Like, let's create a straw man.
It's
and
all
punch it.
gray. It's all gray, and by gray I mean everyone's an asshole.
Yeah. Everybody you were taught was good is actually bad, and all the villains are actually just really sympathetic.
You sound like the audience that watches The Boys now.
Oh,
my
God.
Exactly.
Okay. The Boys are the new Rick and Morty fans. You actually have to have a really high IQ to understand The Boys.
No,
you
don't have that. You don't have to have that. If you argue with a Boys fanboy, they only have one thing to say about it. Actually, the show's making fun of you. Like,
yep.
Okay, doesn't make it less trash.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they just say, well, that's because you don't get it, because you're just now getting the. I could go off on this. I hate this show. I've really hated it since it came out, because I don't like superheroes that are murdering assholes. And it's an audience of people. The audience is only people who. The reason they like it is because if they had superpowers, they would be murdering assholes too. That's why they relate to it so much.
Yeah.
But he's the goddamn Homelander.
Well, dude, you nailed something though right there, John. Like the people who like The Boys are the people who say that Superman is boring.
Right. Because they can't conceive that there's an ideal to work towards.
I hate The Boys and I find Superman boring, but people call me Lex Luthor, so that's a different story.
That's a lot to process all at once. I don't know what to do with that information.
I'm just saying it's not mutually exclusive. I hate both of them.
No, but the idea is that you have this paragon of virtue, okay? And there are people who have lived, that are brought up in this Marxist demoralization media that don't believe that something like that can exist or something that is worth aspiring towards. That's why they see it as boring, because it's like you're basically like talking about like the afterlife to an atheist. They don't see it. It doesn't exist. They don't care.
Yeah.
Well,
I
sorry.
Just highly disagree. I very much like heroes to be heroic. And yes, I did. And I don't know if you want me to start going off on this, Nick, or we want to get back to the movie or what. I don't want to derail your entire.
More about the Independence Day. I'm actually I'm really glad you're here. After we ranted about Star Wars for half an hour. We're probably going to go back there, but I just say this is why I love Independence Day. It's a turn your brain off, enjoy the ride. Well, the other thing is I'm a huge Top Gun fan. Which might be another future movie night, which Manley, you're welcome to tear that apart, part 2.
No, I love Top Gun. I'm a big fan of both Top Guns.
All right, end of the month, we're talking about Top Gun. That's the next movie night.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
All right, we're doing Top Gun at the end of July, so it has been decided. So I always love like aviation, like everything like jet
and all that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, this is a very jet heavy movie, so like it does kind of like. It kind of like hits that like Top Gun vibe, like Top Gun like, kind of thing. Yeah. So I kind of enjoy it like that way. I will say, there is no way they would let the president go up in an airplane to fight the aliens. They would never allow that.
No.
But he belongs in the air. Well, you also belong in the ground where you're safe.
I mean, they planted the seeds for that very early on, talking about he was a combat veteran from, I think, Desert Storm. So, at least they did. I mean, Jesus Christ, even George W. Bush, who was a fighter pilot in Vietnam, was still able to fly and land a fighter jet on an aircraft carrier when the Iraq War had kicked off. And whatever you think about him, and believe me, I'm no fan. Like, that was a bit of a legit moment. Like, wow, the guy still got it.
I can fly a plane. You have to be a certain vintage to understand that reference.
Yeah, I gotta do it. Wouldn't be prudent.
Do you think he was munching on broccoli while flying that plane?
Don't like broccoli.
Melee's like, I have no idea what's going on.
No, it's no. I'm here.
She's
I'm
like these
in it.
boomers.
Yeah.
Why do you think that? How old do I look to you?
Do you really want us to answer that question?
Not really, but you can. I don't care.
You look like you're 18, Melee. That's what I'm saying.
How do I look 18? That's a
Because
great
that's-
compliment. I will take it.
Yeah, that's the answer that's not going to get me in trouble. So that's what I'm going to
Exactly. There you go. That's right. I'm 18 now in the lore. Perfect. I will give you a
canon.
compliment, Phoenix. Yes, exactly. It's canon. So, one thing I noticed in this film, I was watching that scene with Randy Quaid where, he kind of does the sacrifice and it's like super interesting. I thought that was a great part of the film. And right away I was like, this happens in Star Fox 64. And then I was like, wait a minute. That level.
Yeah.
No. There's a level where you meet Bill, the other side character in Star Fox, and you're defending like this pyramid with Bill and his troops. And I was like, I swear this is the same thing. So I went and looked it up after. I'm like, oh my God, yeah. And literally they named him after the general, potentially. That's the thought around it. From it. So it's supposed to be an intentional reference. So that's one compliment I will give the film. I thought that was cool. And then the other thing is you actually inspired me to watch Mars Attacks. And Mars Attacks has become one of my favorite films of all time. I love Mars Attacks now. So thank you for giving me that film to watch after. Mars Attacks is like such an interesting film to watch after this because you're like, oh, they're so like cynical in Mars Attacks, but it's like great because the aliens have personality of all these celebrities thrown in. The storyline's great. I was like, this is fantastic. So you might have even made Mars Attacks better in my brain just because I watched it after Independence Day. But if you ever want to talk about that film, I'm in because I love that movie now.
Mars
It's not
Attacks
unusual.
Well, the thing is, Mars
So
Attacks is kind of an intentional farce. It's
a parody.
Yeah, it totally
parody,
is.
farce, satire, or whatever word you want to apply. But it's definitely trying to hit a certain vibe. Like it's kind of got like a Mel Brooks kind of thing to it.
Yeah, it's the 1950s space invasion movies. They literally took War of the Worlds and then just turned it sideways and made it funny.
I love how the ending has literally has James Bond with his head in a jar on top of a dog.
That is okay. For me, that is the best depiction of Pierce Brosnan there's ever been. Like, I love it because it's like he's James Bond, like turned up to 120%, but like kind of quirky and weird. I love it. I love it so much.
I feel like if you had toned down the movie,
Richard.
if you had toned down that movie some, it would have been a perfect Muppets movie.
Oh,
in the best way possible.
The Muppets. I have to say this: the Muppets Mars Attacks.
Wait, would there be pigs? Like, would the aliens be like?
They'd be the same, but they would just be puppets. And how would you even tone that down though? Like they shoot their guns and like they do
even better. Tim Curry is in this version.
No, Tim Curry will make everything better.
Yeah,
he does.
Dude, when they do the skeletal scene, like when they get zapped by the laser and you see like the X-ray, when the Muppet gets nuked, you see like a skeletal arm and a hand.
I'm so
they turn into skeletons and people just look at each other and go, "Oh." And Statler and Wardolph are in the high seats going, "Oh, finally something worth watching!" Oh,
all right. So now that John is here, I want to get your thoughts. Like, what do you think? The pre-launch is live, and then here's the cover for you.
Oh yeah, man, that looks good. That hits the sweet spot. That's the kind of cover art that I really like. It's eye catching. It's colorful too. That also helps.
So the title and the stuff is like a more of a temporary thing, just to kind of give you an idea. This was done by Xevious, and we were trying to give it kind of like a Daryl K. Sweet kind of look, like the Wheel of Time covers.
Yeah.
Or we're trying to like make it look like the fantasy books of the 80s and the 90s.
Oh, you're hitting the sweet spot for me right there. I mean, that's the era I came from. And for me, when it comes to sci-fi covers, there's 1,000,001 versions of, a vague spaceship in space, either in battle or just, floating through space or floating by planets and stuff. So anything that can include the humans really kind of helps add that little.
Yeah,
dimension
like
to
one
it.
of the big things that I was trying to do with this cover was I was really trying to hammer home the sci-fi fantasy vibe, because this is kind of meant to be a mixture of the two, and I think Xevious did a great job.
The man's a professional.
So John, what's your take on the Acolyte?
My take on the Acolyte is, if I had a time machine, I would go back in time to when I was 12 years old and bully my younger self into never being a Star Wars fan.
Oh my god,
That's kind of where I am.
But
with Star
you don't
Wars.
you don't like how lightsabers are now good for haircuts.
Oh no, but I got tired of Star Wars by the end of the start of like Mando season 3. Like that's when I really just could not even be bothered to be paying attention to it anymore.
See, my problem with Mando is it's not even a Mandalorian season. It is a Bo-Katan. It is a Bo-Katan show. If they literally would have just called it Bo-Katan, I would not have had a problem with it.
Well, the thing is like Star Wars is best when it's ripping off the Japanese, and literally Mandalorian was just Lone Wolf and Cub. And if they would have followed that formula, it would have been successful. But unfortunately, they had to put in the girl power bullshit, and they just deviated away from the source material, and it showed. It lost sight of what the whole appeal of the series was supposed to be about.
Yeah, like season 2 was good, but it was very much like, hey, let's set up 15 other different shows.
Mm-hmm.
Half of them are probably never going to come out.
Book
of Boba Fett was awful.
Yeah, Book of Boba Fett was terrible. Like, it was half of him, and he had his he had Ming Na, I think that's her name, right?
Yep.
Yeah, she was doing most of the work for him, and then you have episodes of The Mandalorian interspersed at the beginning. Like, that was such a mess, and nobody wanted to admit to it. And then Ahsoka come out, and really, it was just good enough to get by, but it was made more for people who were fans of like the Clone Wars cartoon, which
it was another season of Rebels,
right? And that's all well and good, but clearly there wasn't a whole lot of people. There weren't as many people as they anticipated that were looking for that. Now everyone's talking about this show because everyone's talking about how bad it is. And as the old saying goes, the only thing worse than a bad TV show that no one sees is a bad TV show that everyone sees.
This is how bad it is. Mm-hmm. Like I was actually looking at some normie type people, and they're like, "Yeah, I like the show. It has some glaring problems, but I still like it." When even the normies are tepidly admitting it has problems, then it's bad.
This is the Biden debate performance of Star Wars.
We're not going there. We're not going there. We are not touching that. We are not.
I'm just saying it's obvious to everyone now that this is not good, and no, the only people defending it are the hardcore Disney shills that, and we're talking about these people will eat any slop you shovel into their maw.
Reality defines.
I don't think any of them are Star Wars
Have
fans.
you seen the food they serve at Disneyland? Yeah, they definitely will.
They're defending an ideology, not Star Wars, in my opinion. I don't think anyone that's actually defending this is like a Star Wars fan. I think they're just people that are so mad that people are criticizing Star Wars. Yeah. And this is like a new cultural ground to debate on. So it's like, oh, we're against the bad people if we say that the Acolyte is good. Like, no one's actually liking the show.
I think it's also the fact that now the Star Wars is in like the Disney sphere. Like you'll have it's like you said, like ideological grounds. You have people like the Disney adults. They will defend anything Disney. If like no matter how bad it is, they will defend it. So I think that's also a factor.
Except Song of the South, they never defend that.
Zippity doo dah.
Isn't like the Tiana's Bayou like an objectively worse ride or something?
I don't know. I think they just messed up the implementation of it. I've never been to Disney World or Disneyland either, because when I was a kid, like it was sold on TV as the ultimate vacation destination. And when I was a kid, I did want to go, but we were poor, we was broke ass. So we never went. Now I'm old enough that if I wanted to, I could go.
Universal.
I would not go to Disney World, even if I had the money.
Go to Universal, my friend. Like that's at least worth your money.
Super Nintendo World.
I'm looking. Yeah, my kids would love that way more.
Harry Potter Land.
Also, double whammy.
Also, there's I don't know if you heard the rumors, because you know how with the Ions Adventure they recently closed down Poseidon's Fury. There's rumors that it's going to become a Legend of Zelda world.
Oh,
because if you think about the design of Poseidon's Fury, it actually wouldn't take too much. Like a lot of the stuff there could be easily converted into Legend of Zelda.
Well, I really hope though that Nintendo doesn't like Disneyfy their properties too much, because there is an element of charm and stability and consistency to the franchises that they have.
Yeah.
So and if they start doing to their franchises what they do to what Disney does with theirs, like I would hate to see that stuff ruined, because Nintendo, for as frustrating a video game company as they can be, they remain consistent with both the quality and how they present their stuff, and they don't give into differences, changing cultural norms and things like that, or the game industry itself.
Would you go to Elden Ring Land?
Would I go to Elden Ring Land? Well, I don't.
Where you're hunted by monsters, kill or be killed.
I mean, sure, that would be fun, maybe, but honestly, the thing that unsold me, I'm not that I dislike Elden Ring, I haven't played it, but the thing that unsold me is that George R.R. Martin wrote for it. It's like I don't like what he does.
I think it was kind of more of an in-name thing. I think it was more like, hey, George, here's the script. What do you think?
I think what he did genuinely is provide like cliff notes and like some lore elements, and other writers just took what he wrote and expanded way on it. I don't think he wrote a hell of a lot of this, because frankly he doesn't write a hell of a lot at all.
That's my problem with him. He doesn't write anything, and then he cries about Tolkien all the time, and it's like,
hold on, I am all here for the George R. R. Martin.
It's like Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is miserable. Lord of the Rings is about hope. And Game of Thrones is about misery. And it's like, why you're crapping on all this stuff. And he's like, why aren't we seeing things like the taxes they pass when Aragorn does this? And it's like,
because
I don't
that
care.
Would be boring.
Exactly.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit about that.
Screw Game of Thrones. I hate that guy, man.
Who hate Batman when they say, why doesn't Batman
what's Aragorn's political position on Mordor? What's his political platform on dealing with the orc refugees?
What, George R. R. Martin or mine? What?
George R. R. Martin.
I'm mocking George.
Okay,
He's asking,
I was like, what?
These are the kind of things that I call stupid nerd questions, and these is when nerds overthink
like
something
in the
way too
evil
much.
to fly the ring to Mordor.
Right. These are stupid nerd questions. Instead of accepting the story for the way it's told and presented, the way the author intended, they try and figure out how they could write it better, or they think way too deeply about this. As I was saying, we were talking over each other. It's like the people who like to shit on Batman and say, why doesn't Batman use his money to solve the problems of the poor in Gotham City?
Don't they address that in the animated series?
They also address it
several times in the comics too.
So if you watch Batman Begins, okay, they clearly state the Waynes tried to use money to fix the problems. Like that was the whole, like they built the tram, but it didn't work. They were killed by the very people they were trying to save. And the death of the Waynes united people for a time, but even that can't last forever.
That was but that was in that one movie. That was not, necessarily in the comics. But in the comics, he's always done something. He's always shown to be a philanthropist. Mm-hmm. But they don't care about that. They want a fantastical solution to a problem no one's asking.
So I haven't I'm not a huge comic book person, so I'm learning about DC. I'm more of like a little bit of a Marvel person, and I do love Spider-Man and stuff like that. I'm learning about DC as I'm older. I enjoy it. But with Batman, I'm still watching the animated series, so I haven't got through all of it. There was one episode though that I was shown. How can you hate Batman? Anyways, there's an episode that I was shown where he pretty much is just overwhelmed with people who have problems, and he can't help all of them at once. And I kind of took that as a good enough answer for why he can't just solve it simply with money. It's like it's not easy to solve the homeless problem, right? Like you can't just snap a finger and do it.
That's also why Clark Kent exists. Because if he was Superman all the time, he would be overburdened with everyone's problems. Clark Kent is just as much of a respite as it is a disguise. So being Clark Kent allows him to live a normal life, live among the people, learn to care for them, have empathy. But it's also a respite. Like, he doesn't have to be Superman, he's Clark Kent. And I'm sorry, even if you're a Kryptonian, you kind of need a break every once in a while.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea. I don't know. I just always took it as like, I mean, Batman solves all the problems that he can, but he can't solve everything instantly. It's impossible, right?
Well, money
He's only
doesn't
human.
make evil go away.
Yeah, exactly.
And
it's like the give a man a fish thing, right? Like you have to teach him to fish, or else it's just going to come back instantly.
I will say this:
we're applying too much real world logic to what is essentially, a comic story, and really you can't do that, because at the end of the day, you end up at the same place. The idea of a guy dressing as a bat beating up people who commit crimes is on its face ludicrous, because we know this because people who have done it in real life have either failed at it, or they're just kind of a glorified neighborhood watch. And even people who are neighborhood watch, like it's.
I mean, also the
real life. That's why it's
the other problem you have is like the people. It's like, oh, there's dragons in this. Anything's possible. Like the logical extremist said, like, oh, you can accept flying dragons and teleportation, but you can't accept a 2015 Land Rover helping Arathor at the Battle of Palomar Fields. What are you, bigot?
But going back to the Batman thing, I think that was something else, Phoenix. But going back to the Batman thing,
the Friday Night Frenzy.
Yes, I love it. I always felt like Batman was more grounded in reality than most comic book heroes, so I would argue that you can apply real world logic to specifically Batman, Gotham, all that kind of stuff. Again, I'm talking as a casual fan, but personally, anytime I'm like looking at a Batman story, I'm like, I can apply real life stuff to it, because it's like the most empowering thing to us as a reader. You feel like it's all realistic what he can do compared to other superheroes.
You feel like it's probable.
Yeah, it's probable. In comparison, he's the easiest one to relate to, in my opinion, because it's like
if
everything he's doing
isn't. I could be Batman.
Yeah.
What's your superpower? I'm rich.
I love that.
And the morals. It's important to put also the morals. You need to have the morals of Batman, the principles, not just the money. But anyway, sorry.
I wish I had a trust fund so I could disappear for 8 years, travel the world, learn from all the greatest masters, and then come back and have a $1 billion superhero suit.
And then I can be your 20s too. That's the most fantastic part about an unbelievable part about Batman, is that he's a rich guy with morals. Just like the most fantastic part of Superman is that he's a journalist with ethics.
To bring up
what were you saying, Nick?
The point about why Batman doesn't just like use money, because there's also the fact that there's other billionaires in Gotham City that are actively working against all the good he does, both as Bruce Wayne and as Batman.
Yeah, a lot of them crime lords.
Yep.
Not just crime lords, like other legit businessmen, like in the animated series. There was
Lex Luthor is Metropolis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but you have Roland Daggett, you've got others. You've got your crime bosses too, but like legitimate
the Elliott family.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
and then there's like in Batman Beyond, there was
Penguin, Black Mask, and Falcone. I think are like the big three that I think most people would say.
So like it's obvious that the problems in Gotham run pretty deep, and they're problems that one man on his own cannot solve with just money.
I mean, Gotham isn't in New Jersey. No wonder it's corrupt as hell.
Well, no, dude. Like, here's the thing: is if we had the Batman of the pre-comics rating board, Gotham would have all these problems solved, but we wouldn't have a comic book series anymore, because Batman needs to kill these pieces of crap, and he doesn't, and that's why there's still problems.
The Shadow does,
crime that these people commit after he throws them into an easily escapable Arkham. That's blood on Batman's hands.
Well, I would say him not killing is kind of a vestige of the old comics code stuff, because the only way they could get away with like having recurring villains was to have them like escape or get away at the end, because the comics code is like you couldn't kill the villains and evil couldn't win, so they could like you basically.
Well, the Shadow killed villains.
Well, the Shadow coming from a different era. He was like a pulp hero.
Well, yeah, that's when Batman started.
Don't forget, as a razor-fisted Shadow fan, I feel I have to stand up and remind everyone that like Bill Finger and Bob Kane directly ripped off the first issue, directly ripped off the Batman from the Shadow.
Yep.
Until Batman a few issues later kind of went in a more kid-friendly direction. Now,
yep.
I feel like I was under the impression that Batman's no killing rule kind of came more from the animated series, because if you remember the Burton Batman films, like he had no problem he had no problem with throwing guys over a cliff.
Well, here's my
or
question.
throwing down a shaft
Blowing
with a
them
bomb
up.
hooked up to him.
Well, here's my question. So our modern day version of Batman was kind of birthed in the 70s with Neil Adams and Denny O'Neil. That is like the modern version of Batman started there. So my question is, did he kill in the 70s? Like in that Denny O'Neil, Neil Adams run. Like I know by the 80s, once Frank Miller did some stuff, you had him kill. But like the 70s, like that kind of like run, did he kill? I don't know, but if you guys can answer that question, that'd be great.
Well, it started, in my opinion, it started when whatever it is that Comics Ratings Board came in and said, you like, because it's always the bored housewives of
Comics Code
politicians that
Authority.
ruin. Yeah, they come in and they clutch their pearls and ruin everything for everyone. And they're like, these books are being read by children. So suddenly all the superheroes had to have these little boy sidekicks. And that's where Robin came in. And part of that whole era was you can't murder and you cannot depict violence. And that's why the pre-era of that, the pre-era of like when you had the Shadow and you had the pulp comics, it was violence and death. And then they pulled that out sometime in like the 50s?
You're kind of getting a few things wrong,
What's that?
Chris, because the Comics Code Authority didn't really pop up until like the mid 50s, and Robin, I think, was there as early as like 39, 40.
Well, that's when that's when they pulled that out. Is that they're like,
yeah, and a lot of the
kids are
sidekicks-
watching this.
Yeah, the sidekicks were made to appeal to a younger demographic. Because these kids can't imagine themselves as Batman, so let's give them like a little sidekick. That's who they aspirational for.
Well, it's just like Bucky
can't
Barnes.
imagine themselves as Captain America. Let's give them Bucky. You know.
Yeah. And I mean, I didn't get it wrong. I watched the documentary on it, and they were saying there was a bunch of pearl-clutching, bored housewives of politicians that saw this shit, flipped it out, and it's like, wow, I saw history repeat itself with video games. You know, they inject.
Music, video games,
moral
everything.
panic. Yeah, it happens again and again and again every time there's a new medium. And unfortunately, what happened is they injected this like, well, it's for kids. Comics aren't like that. Is a weird thing about comics is that anywhere outside of the United States, comics are not viewed as something for kids.
Soldiers were issued comic books as part of their package in World War II.
Well, yeah, Europe has the Bandes Déjeuner. Korea has the manhwa. Japan has the manga.
And in Japan, manga is so normalized. You could be on a train. You could have a 50-year-old salaryman reading a manga on a subway.
Yeah, so it's strictly an American thing that when they impose this, like, you know, they put the bumpers in the bowling alley on for these comics for kids. Like, Batman can't kill. You know, this and that and the other thing. And the 90s kind of tried to steer it back towards the edginess, but they totally pulled like they lost what made the pulp and the noir stuff so much cooler.
Well, the problem with the 90s is they went too far into the edge during the comics boom.
Yeah.
Arguably, comics really haven't left the era of the 90s. They've just
they've
kind of stayed stagnant for like the last 20 years, still embroiled in all that overly edgy, dark stuff. I mentioned I didn't like
I
The Boys.
disagree.
The Boys is the most 90s comic I've ever seen.
I disagree. Because if you look at comics from 94 and then look at comics from 97, literally a 3-year difference, they look night and day. Because like the comics of the late 90s, they kind of subdued it a lot more. Like they pulled it back. Because after the comic boom, it wasn't as artist-based. The problem with the early 90s was the era of the rock star artist. Books being sold, because like Todd McFarlane drew the book, 20 million copies. That wasn't a thing anymore in the late 90s. So it became a more writing-focused scene. And then that kind of bled into the 2000s. Because like 97 to 2007 is my era of comics. I'm very like defensive of that era, and like they're like comics of the early 90s, comics of the late 90s are almost two different genres, in my opinion.
I would have to take your word on it because in the 90s, there was only one comic that I really read, and that was the Archie Sonic comic because I was a huge Sonic fan, and it had its ups, it had its downs. I would occasionally glance at some Marvel comics, but not reading a whole lot back then. I got more into it when I was in my 20s, and I could actually afford to buy graphic novels.
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem that I have with like the growing up crowd is they always love to like quote that Bible verse. It's like, oh, and when I became a man, I put aside childish things, and it's always by the people who are not Christians that like quote that, and I
may
just
grow
wanna,
old,
like-
but I'll never grow up.
It's like that meme. No, I'm not Christian, but maybe if I use this scripture that vaguely aligns with my worldview, you'll do what I say.
Yeah.
No.
See, there's a Doctor Who quote that I always like to put in counter that. It's like, what's the point in being an adult if you can't act childish sometimes?
Well, how's this for you? In the 90s, when I was doing my role-playing game stuff, developing, the Infinitale stuff, I got a lot of very concerned, again, bored housewives telling how, the public library, he's utilizing Satan's board game, essentially, corrupting our kids and all this stuff.
Where's the Cheetos?
No, here's the funny part. Okay, so I'm in the public library doing this. Okay, again, I'm a Jew. I'm not Christian or anything, and I get accused of all this shit.
Dare you?
Do you know? Here's the cool part. It was during one of the recessions in the 90s, the library couldn't remain open because it lacked the funds to do it, and obviously the librarian didn't want to come in not get paid. So you know who came in and stepped in? The freaking Catholic Church across the street said, "Hey, we've got, over here in the rectory, we got a bingo hall." So the Christians were the ones that were enabling the devil's board game, so to speak. The priest actually came in, hung out with us, and he's like, I don't know what these people's problems are. You guys, you're not doing anything weird. You're not doing anything, like, it's an imagination. You're playing let's pretend basically at the table with dice.
Yeah.
Good guy.
So yeah, and it's funny because it's like it shows you who the Christians are versus the people who hide behind Christianity.
Oh,
yeah.
Anyone a fan of Brandon Sanderson?
I've only read his last 3 Wheel of Time novels, and I did enjoy them. I think he finished the series very well, and that is the extent of my Brandon Sanderson.
So I was scrolling Twitter a little bit while I was listening. Don't come at me. I multitask like that. And they got a Stormlight Archive RPG coming out, and here's a look at the dice. I know that's hard to see. I could
it looks cool.
If you want to screen share or something, I'll pop it up.
Can I just share the tweet with you or whatever? Screenshot.
Yeah, send it to me on Twitter. I'll pull it up. Oh, so Hardcore Bunny is
wait, what?
All right, explain.
He's
yourself,
like the nicest
please.
guy. Like he's argued for better deals for authors and indie authors to get better deals for their Audible, their Audible sales. There we go.
Oh, those are nice.
Yeah. If you guys can't tell, I've got quite a few here myself. I got a whole bag full.
Nice.
I'm a bit of a dice goblin. I've
to
slow down a little bit.
All right, 1 sec.
I used to call those caltrops. They're in the barefoot in a hard wooden floor in the dead of night.
That one's one of my favorite. I got a
Royal
gelatinous
bag.
cube dice.
I mean,
it's
yeah,
kind of hard
of
to see, but there's like little bones and a skull on the inside.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah, unfortunately, I found that the dice that have shit inside them actually roll like shit too.
Yeah, they're imbalanced.
This one's what I call Big Chungus, and it was only for monster rolls until I realized all my rolls were shit. Let's see here, 7.
Right.
Yeah, that's thank you, Chungus.
Oh, so it's like weighed differently when you roll it?
Yeah, kind of
imbalanced.
Oh,
What?
I didn't know
All right.
that.
So
Yeah,
this
you
is
can
my
stick
lucky
a die in. Oh, sorry.
This is my lucky D20. It's a jealous lover. So it usually rolls pretty good for me. But every time I've loaned it out, it rolls like shit for everybody else. And then when I get it back, it rolls like shit for me for a little while, like it's mad.
Because you change the energy of it, man. The juju gets out
All right,
of it. We change the energy when it changes owners, okay? You can't just
4.
do that. All right, you can't just loan out your dice. You've got to pick a good set for, like me. I have a different set of dice for different characters. And when that character's no longer in use, I get a different set for a different character. Because if you use one character's dice for another character, don't laugh at me, okay? This is serious shit. Then it rolls differently. And then sometimes you just get a bad dice. You got to put it to the side.
Well,
Here's
put
a
your dice.
miniature. for
Yeah.
a character I was playing as.
Old Blue's always done
Ranger.
good for me.
Sweet.
Oh,
if you
yeah.
want to see, if your dice are balanced, stick one die in a like a glass of water, and see what side pops up. If the die randomly gives you you put it in and it gives you different numbers every time you pull it out and let it settle, then the die is balanced. If you put it in and it's always the same number coming up, that's an imbalanced die.
Well, if the number that always comes up is 20, then I'm just gonna
Yeah.
All right, I didn't see that.
I don't know. I'm just I'm just glad that Will Wheaton is such a piece of shit that the universe itself will not allow him to enjoy his favorite pastime, which is tabletop RPGs.
I mean, why wouldn't he enjoy it? It's been invaded by his people.
Right. He tries to enjoy it, but Nick, I take it you've never heard of the Will Wheaton dice curse.
No, I do know that Will Wheaton is kind of partially responsible for the tabletop boom. Show Tabletop really did bring board games into the mainstream.
I think he was involved in Geek and Sundry channel, which was where Critical Role got its start, and he even guest starred.
He did a show called Tabletop.
Yeah, he guested in a couple of episodes in it where, what it is he rolls so badly. Statistically, it should not be possible that he rolls as badly as he does, as often as he does. When he was on Critical Role, I forget where the statistics were, but 80% of his rolls were 5 or under.
All right,
he rolled 2 20s once the game was over.
Okay, real quick, Nix, you have to leave us.
Yeah, sadly.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Is there anything you want to say before we go? Before you go?
Have fun, everyone. Take care. You're all great.
Well,
so are you.
Sweet. Yeah.
We like you, Nix.
Yes, you're precious. We will protect you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
Isn't she the best?
I love her. She's great.
Yeah, she's adorable. Yeah, Hardcore Bunny. This is probably the one take that of all the takes you said that I actually agree with.
Dude, I just hate that nerd and geek culture, hobbies, whatever the hell you want to call it, have become mainstreamed, because this is how we get Mexican orcs. This is how we get
did I miss something? There's Mexican orcs now?
Not my orcs.
Dude, John is the orc king, so you just triggered him.
Yeah.
Well,
as
there
you
we
can
go.
see, I wrote a book, and I have it starring.
John,
that's a nice cover.
Yes,
that's your book.
John,
yes,
if you have a link, put it in private chat.
I like it.
Okay, what I shared in private chat, you don't have to, not the whole thing, but the opening of this is someone asking Matt Mercer about the Will Wheaton dice curse, and this is a funny watch. If you want to give it a listen, real quick, it should only be about a minute.
All right, yeah, I don't think this will get us copyright, so we should be good.
It's only about a minute long, and then it goes into
famous
the
last
episodes
words,
actually out. Listen to what he says. Someone asks him this
why
question.
do you hate Mexicans?
No me gusta.
I will
Someone
never
did a whole video on this.
All right.
No sound.
Just hear my cat screaming. I'll have to mute him.
Yeah,
dude, we can't hear any of that.
We can't hear any of it, but it's fine if we watch.
No audio.
All right. Let me reshare it then. That was embarrassing.
You boomered it.
Oh my God, Sonic 2 medallion. Dear God, that is like some Eldritch level magic. That thing
might be a different curse though.
Yeah, probably.
This is a Critical Role question. All right. Being a live show with no cuts or edits.
Yes. Unfortunately.
Dice curse. There is no explanation. That is some. I don't know what ancient relic his family uncovered 2 generations ago that has led this blood curse from generation to generation to this day. But that man breaks math and physics. I don't understand it. I heard about that. I heard about that in advance. I'm like, oh man, it'd be kind of funny if you roll really poorly. No. I had an existential crisis after he guessed it both times. I will not touch him physically. I don't want to go anywhere near the possibility of capturing what dark entity is cursed his numeric existence.
Okay. I gotta be honest. I love that last part. I don't know what cursed his numeric existence. Like that is some like god tier level wordplay that I appreciate.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have feelings about Mercer. But
is this Walmart Ego Raptor?
Damn.
Oh God!
All right,
Ego
John,
Raptor.
Defend your orcs.
Oh, my orcs are fashioned after World of Warcraft orcs more than anything. So,
you got their attention.
Well, I don't know what to do with it other than buy my book, The Black Crown, which is available now with I can say it on here, a little sneak peek, guys. The hardcover's coming July 4th.
If you have any links, feel free to post it in private chat. I'll share it.
All right, then. All right. I am not cursed, thankfully. I don't want to.
Do not send this man a medallion. Please do not.
No.
Let this man live in peace.
No,
how would you feel if you opened up a package and it was a Sonic 2 medallion?
I've already warned people that we will burn it. Like, I've already been asked if I want one, and I said no. So I'm not going to reveal who that is, but there's been a few people that have asked me already. I'm like, no, F you, pretty much. It's getting destroyed. I don't care how much we get along. It's getting destroyed. I'm not going near that.
We'll not cross the threshold.
What you send your worst enemy.
Yeah, I wouldn't send that to anyone.
God. Yeah, I don't know, but as far as like the mainstreaming though of these geek like hobbies, like it has kind of made everything homogenized, and it has opened the floodgates for the ideologues to come in and push their shit, and it really has chased out like. I've talked to like some of my friends that were into this stuff when I was a kid. And basically they were like, yeah, I feel like I was kicked out of my own culture. And I was like, wow, that's an odd way of saying it. But yeah, I kind of feel the same way.
Like, I remember this meme where it's like this guy looks like Pink Blob. These people, it's like, all right, we don't want you here. So these people created like a box around themselves, like a sub hobby. And then everyone else crowded that new box, and they said, "We don't want you here." You know, like it's just like you can't win.
Yeah, well, it's gotten to the point where like even the anti like the own the libs people are their own like they've become the microcosms as well. Like they failed to understand what a lot of these hobbies were all about. It's about the people that were kind of cast out from everybody else. You know, like it was the bee in No Rain from God, what the hell was that band? Blind Melon. Remember the little bee girl?
I can say my life.
And she's like, I'm finally around my own people. Like that's what the geek hobbies were about. It was like you may not have been respected, you may not have been, cherished or whatever, but you knew that these were your people. Oh, that guy, he's got problems. All my friends are heathens.
Yeah, the problem is like you said, we're starting to see the rot even infest our own communities. Like, all right, I'm gonna be spicy here. Comicsgate, you got some problems.
Like one big fat problem, you ask me.
Oh my God.
One big fat streaming problem, but that's
a person who needs to spend less time calling out the month of July and maybe spend time actually delivering books he promised you.
Don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know either. Keely, I don't know who this person is, so
like it stopped being about the product and it started being about like the cult of personality with everything. Like it's always about conflict. And it's like, dude, we don't need that. Like,
admittedly, it does get like views, but it's not going to work long term. You've got to have, and that's why a lot of us in the indie sphere have kind of recognized that, hey, trash in the mainstream, talking about how shit the latest Disney and Marvel stuff is. We can already see the downward trajectory, but there's a lot of there's a very strong undercurrent of people asking, okay, we've shit on Disney all day and all night, and that's great and everything. But believe me, it's very cathartic for me to sit there and watch.
That's why Phantom Menace is a whisper of what it once was. Because
they stopped using the hashtag.
You can complain. You can complain about something for like you can only complain about something for so long. Like, yes, we know Star Wars sucks. What now? And I'm gonna be honest.
What's the alternative?
The alternative is Lost Kingdom. Like I wrote Lost Kingdom to be my alternative to Star Wars. Okay,
You know,
So
you're
if
you're
you don't
part
like
of
Star Wars.
you're part of the solution, and you know you're fighting against the problem. Granted, you don't have the platform that you know the Disney shills and everything and everyone like that does, but I think this is the kind of the heart of what we call the Iron Age, which is, you know, we're stronger for what we're doing because we're taking the initiative to do all of it ourselves. And even if you were, you know, putting your book out there and going, the marketing that you've got is just your channel. You've got more than some newer authors do in you know in the publishing scene, because they'll pick up newer authors, and if their book's like not an immediate hit, they might not pick up their next book, the publisher, and you know then you have authors who are kind of flapping in the breeze. You may end up outselling a newer traditionally published author, Nick, just because you've got more of a platform they do, because they'll go to their I've seen the pictures on the tweets. They go to their book signings in New York and nobody shows up. Why not? Because we're all here. We're online talking to each other. We're not in you don't have that kind of a fan base in real life.
If we're going to talk about strictly from a comics perspective, the average comic book set nowadays sells between 15 and 20K a month. So the bar is actually insanely low. You know, like whenever Eric releases a new comic, he is essentially the #1 comic for that month.
Right.
God damn.
And you know, the indies are picking up. Look, all these books back here, with the exception of the Lord of the Rings right here, this special omnibus edition my wife got me for Christmas. All this is indie fantasy behind me.
Hell yeah.
Because, and this has entertained me better when I kind of walked away from the MCU and Star Wars and stuff that I really enjoyed for so many years, and started investing in this. This was much more gratifying and rewarding. Streaming and sitting here talking to other folks on streaming was much more gratifying and emotionally fulfilling and creatively fulfilling than, you know, sitting here going, okay, guys, boy, that new Star Wars show sucks, don't it? Well, no shit. Like you said, no shit. It sucks. It's been sucking for a while. This is not new. And for the younger folks in the Disney shows, this is the first time they've ever seen something that was good turn to shit in front of them. I'm a former pro wrestling fan. Okay, this happened to me a long time ago. Look at what happened with the Highlander. The Highlander franchise was the canary in the coal mine. Okay, it can happen to that franchise. It's going to happen to these other ones, and they don't know how to fix it.
John, you know that the death knell of any wrestling promotion is when they announce, "We just hired Vince Russo."
Bro, let me tell you.
The last time he got hired, though, like that was a long time ago. He was even employed by anybody, though.
Yeah,
I think he was part of TNA.
I'm
sorry, I actually got into a bit of a tussle with Razor Fist because
I remember. He's a big Russo fan.
Moments.
He's a big Russo fan, and I don't know that I've ever seen it, but you know, something was rotten to the core where you know, a lot of the places he went after WWE just seemed like the kiss of death. Like it always, but there's always problems wherever the wrestlers are, and God, I don't want to fire up the pro wrestling mind, you know, brain, because
let's
that's
go to Wendy's.
So much.
Let's go to Corny.
It's such a different gear to shift into.
Yeah, right. It's like all of a sudden I'm turning 3 lanes over and having to downshift. Like,
and I'm like, I love Attitude Era, but I stopped watching WWE at this time, and then AEW was great for a year, and then it started sucking, and my brain is just everywhere now.
Yeah.
I'm not okay. I do need to clarify. I'm not saying CG as a whole is bad. I'm going to pull the little stupidest thing. I have plenty of friends in CG. You know, that stupid line. Yeah, but, you know, it just, there's certain people. But
my thing is I stay away from the drama. Like, I'm not a big enough fish for it to even matter, you know? But ultimately, I just want to make customers happy. Like, that's ultimate. I don't care if you're CG, Iron Age, or any other, like, just if you like the book, you're awesome. Thanks for supporting.
I don't care who you are. If you want to buy my book, I'll sell it to you. You know, I could be at a Comic-Con and Heather Angenos could walk up to my booth, and if she wanted to buy my comic, I'd gladly sell it to her.
I don't think I'd recognize her if she walked up to my booth, but
I've seen.
I feel the sentiment. I will say, I ain't gonna lie, I'm enjoying and keeping a close eye on a lot of the drama, but occasionally I'll snipe at it on my my Twitter, but I'm not gonna do that on my channel.
I try to stay out of it. I don't do it on my channel.
Yeah.
Like these streams are meant to be fun. Like they're not meant to be like in my opinion, indie comics for a lot of people have become pro wrestling. And that is not the indie comics that I want. Like, will there be disagreement? Will there be beef? Will there be conflict? Yes, of course.
Unless it's shitting on George R. R. Martin, man, then I will be all about. I will bring all the drama out. The blood sports, and I will be the first one to throw a punch.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Right, for the record, really good writer. I have come to change my mind on how he, what he's infused his books with, which is that, that same just nihilistic look at the world that he's built. It's an interesting story, a lot of moving parts, and very impressive that he assembled it all. But now I'm also soured on the fact that it's obvious he's not ever going to finish.
Well, the big problem is the story got away from him. The story clearly got away from him.
Yeah. And it's not only that there's
Amen.
There's probably a chance we'll never
James.
There's probably a chance that we'll never see we may end up getting Winds of Winter. We will never see Dream of Spring, which is supposed to be the last book. And more to the point, and I'm the only one that says this, based on how he writes, the way he writes, he can't do it in 2 books. He can't end that series in 2 books based on where he left off and where he has to end.
Well, let me tell you what's going to happen. Let me tell you what's going to happen, okay? Winds of Winter will probably come out in his lifetime. He's actually has a lot of it done. It's either going to come out in his lifetime or shortly after he dies. And it doesn't matter how much he says, no one will finish the series. There is way too much money that they will offer a big chunk of money to his estate, and they will let some, like, imagine Brandon Sanders. If they get Brandon Sanders to do
that Mormon ain't gonna do that.
But somebody, some other well-known author or somebody, some fantasy author,
some sucker that's gonna get a lot of hate because he's not as good.
Yeah. Let's say they hire you, John. They hire you to finish Game of Thrones.
I don't think they're gonna finish the books though ever. I think they'll just continue to pump out TV shows and all this stuff.
Yeah, and all these like side stories and shit.
Yeah,
I
see, that was my
too
big
much
problem
money in finishing the series.
That was my biggest one of my biggest problems with George. It's not just that he took so long to write that book. It's that he wrote other books.
Yep.
Besides the book everyone wanted him to write. He wrote House of Dragon. He wrote Duncan Egg. He wrote all this other shit. He wrote helped write Elden Ring. He helped produce TV shows. He would do anything except write the book. And now he's in a place where he resents the fact that whenever he says something online, he could come out and say, "Oh, the Sox had a good game today." And everybody like, "Where's the book, George?" You know, just jumping down his throat. And Patrick Rothfuss falls into that too, because it's been 12 years since the last book he released, and he's been petty as well. Because,
wait, John, I just noticed what's in your background. Chris, do you see what's in the background of John?
What?
The dice tower?
No, to the other side of John. It's literally staring you right in the face.
What, my Starfinder box?
No. It's literally to the right. Chris, do you see it?
Just tell us, Phoenix.
What are you looking at?
He doesn't get what you're trying to allude
I got a lot of
to.
shit in my background.
It's like you point to my background. I've got like 60 games.
That's Chris's book right there. That's Chris's thing.
This box was too nice to throw away. I didn't want to get rid of it.
I'm sorry. It's been staring right there, and I just realized it.
This is where I keep all my indie comics until I get something bigger. Like I've got a bunch
Chris,
of
how
shit
does that feel to see it randomly pop up?
Let's see.
Well, I love the fact that an old design that I had made.
That's a good comic right there.
I've heard about it. I don't know why I bought that.
Yeah, the creator's an asshole though.
Actually, I think somebody sent that.
Weird
to me.
taste in movies. At least that's
from Mr. John Della Rose. This is actually really good.
Oh, sweet.
Ooh, Deus Vult. You sold me.
Alpha Core. This one was pretty decent. By Mike Barron. More Nick. Else.
Is Alpha Core the Eric July thing? I don't know anything about comics and all this comics games.
Preacher. Alpha Core is it's Rippaverse, but this one was written by Mike Barron.
I thought it was Chuck.
Basically, they're superhero cops.
Okay.
So this reads like a police procedural. It's pretty good. And of course, Immortal Rising.
Nice.
Yeah, gotta love it.
Immortal, I hope you're still in the chat.
Yeah, and of course, Mr. Chris's comic right there.
Woohoo!
Which is yes, I realize I owe you guys owe a lot of you guys a review. I explained it in my stream this morning. Like I have been working 12-hour shifts, like 3-4 days out of the week for the last 3 months, and it's absolutely destroyed all my creative time. I have almost no time. I'm at the end of that now, and next month I am definitely going to be putting more time into the video production stuff and as well as my own stuff. But
so Immortal Riding says thanks for buying, John.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was actually sent to me. Show up in the Rippaverse as superhero.
Wait, did Keanu Reeves send that to you himself?
I wish he would have. We could have had a discussion about it. Unfortunately, not.
No, you're beautiful.
So Melee, you've been pretty quiet. You've been letting the boys talk. So what's your take on like things we've been speaking about?
Well, with comics, it's completely out of my realm. I was a Gamergate person, not a Comicsgate person. By the time that came around, I was like, okay, whatever. That's just copying what we did. So, like, whatever.
All right.
That's why I'm the video game person, right? So for me, I'm just like, okay, yeah, I guess comics had an issue, even though they were dead way longer than video games ever were. So
what's on your shelves in the background? Games or books or what?
Oh, this is all video games behind me. There's a bit of DVDs because we watch a lot of film and stuff now too. But yeah, it's a lifetime of video game collecting back there and statues.
So Melee, as an OG GGer,
Yes.
what's your thoughts on the situation? I was a bystander. I was an observer in 2014.
On the states of what? Gamergate or of Comicsgate or what?
Gamergate. That's the one thing you can speak with authority on. So.
I mean, people think that Gamergate 2 is happening right now, but to me, the ride never ended to begin with. Like, we all just kind of were like, that was always the joke back then. It was like, the ride never ends.
No,
like, as soon as people...
right.
Yeah.
But I want my
I'm a big Medicare
I want my electric boogaloo.
No, Medicare was right. He's like,
Medicare was always correct.
Pressing. Yeah, he's like, guys, what are you doing? Like, we got him on their back foot. Like, finish it. Like, and nope. And like what happens when you don't finish a freaking antibiotic prescription, it comes back more resistant to treatment.
I definitely think it's in a better place now with Grums and Cabrutus, what they've done to kind of raise attention to what's been kind of eating away a lot of games. And thankfully, this has brought a lot of enough gamers to the forefront. They're like, okay, I don't want any part of that. And like games, there have been some games that have utterly bombed because of their involvement with the DEI and Sweet Baby Inc. and all that stuff. Yeah. And they forget that gamers can be just as happy with some pixel shit retro game that has a lot of heart put into it as they do some AAA game that tries to be everything for everyone.
Remember Undertale was a thing.
Yep.
Remember how popular Undertale got?
My son loves that, and I gotta admit, it's got charm.
Do you want to know how popular Undertale got? So you know the song Megalovania? That song has been played for the Pope.
Oh my God!
What?
Remember when Kenny Omega came out to that dressed as Sans?
Did Kenny Omega come out to that? I always knew he did like the Final Fantasy bit, but I didn't know he
did that. But he came out to One Wing Angel on one pay-per-view, but he came out to Megalomania for a match, and he had a Sans helmet on. And you whenever like pop culture kind of crosses over into pro wrestling, the announcers are always stumbling to try and tell everyone where this is from, and they're like that is Sans, like from, and it's obvious they have known nothing about it.
Yeah,
like when the New Day came out as Saiyans, and
I remember that.
And Michael Cole was going, and he's dressed as Vegeta. Like, okay, we get it, Michael. You didn't watch Dragon Ball Z, buddy.
All right, so check this out.
Appropriate too, given that background.
Yeah, that's demonic.
They're playing Megalovania for the Pope.
In front of a background that looks like the final boss of a JRPG.
I want you to know, Phoenix, that I hate this with a passion.
Oh. But yeah, Megalovania.
Culture, man.
I hate this with a passion. Why do we need the Pope to be seeing Megalovania? Like, this is such a quirky, like, Zoomer thing. Like, why?
To me, it's a sign of the cultural penetration of the song. And
sure, I take it as a sign as people
or
being
the fall
like,
of a religion.
yeah, it's like what? It's just cringe.
Oh my
It hurts my soul.
You like JRPGs?
Yeah,
I love JRPGs.
Favorite genre. All right,
Yeah.
so what's your short list for your favorite of all time?
Ooh, that's a
top
tough
5.
question. I mean, I'm a big Tales fan, so I love Symphonia. I love
Yes!
Berseria. I love Vesperia.
Abyss?
I love Golden Sun would be another
Yes!
example.
I mean, Melee, this is why we're friends. Let's be honest. This is why we're such good friends.
I guess if you want to go, like, I love Super Mario RPG and Paper Mario, but I kind of consider them like half rank JRPGs. I like Final Fantasy, but only certain ones. This is where the heresy comes out because I actually love 10-2, and a lot of people hate that, but that's fine.
Okay, this is the question. If you answer it wrong, I will kick you. What is your
You've already
opinion on
kicked me.
Final
I'm not
Fantasy?
afraid.
What is your opinion on Final Fantasy 8?
What is my favorite Final Fantasy?
No, what is your opinion on Final Fantasy 8?
On Final Fantasy as a whole?
No,
Final Fantasy 8.
Oh, 8. I didn't hear the last part. So I'm like, what?
It's his accent.
Yeah, okay. I like the aesthetic of Final Fantasy VIII. I like the character design. Wow. I think the story is a bit convoluted at the end. I felt like I maybe passed out and woke up and the ending just kind of hit me. Same feeling I got from KOTOR 2. Well, it's just like all so confusing. I played that game twice and I'm still like, what just happened? You really have to show me this generic alien that I hated from Independence Day.
Everyone conveniently
Nobody's perfect.
Oh boy!
Everyone conveniently forgot their entire childhood in that game. Like,
I love Triple Triad. I love the Gunblade. There's things I love about Final Fantasy VIII, but objectively speaking, it's not a smooth story at all. It's like how I love KOTOR 2.
Final Fantasy.
That was my first favorite.
Final Fantasy. I said it.
I'm happy that the JRPGs spawned the subgenre of SRPGs because that's my jam. I love the SRPG stuff.
Yes.
Shining Force, Fire Emblem. Hell, there was
Fire Emblem. Oh, love it.
Have you ever played on the PSP? There was one called Jeanne d'Arc. And
that was a good one.
They're beautiful.
Yes.
I like that. I never finished it. And I feel bad.
So Melee, this is my turn for heresy. Okay, and Chris knows what I'm about to say regarding Fire Emblem.
Uh-oh.
The only Fire Emblem I've ever played was Three Houses.
Yeah, that makes me angry. The worst Fire Emblem you can possibly play is Three Houses.
But it's Fire Emblem Harry Potter.
It's terrible. It's awful.
It's great.
If you're like an old school Fire Emblem fan, like there are people that like Three Houses. There are a lot of fans, don't get me wrong. But to me, it was just like such a convoluted, like I feel like I'm in a school more than I'm doing any battles or anything.
I know,
like,
I loved it.
I hate it. I love like the Game Boy Advance ones where it's like you're at war. This is intense. And then like 7 and 8 for me, Sacred Stones and Fire Emblem, as it's known here, like those are fantastic. Even the GameCube and the Wii one are also great, but as soon as you get to Three Houses, I hate it. Engage was like slowly going back to how Fire Emblem used to be, but it's still not like great. So you need to play the Game Boy ones. That's my takeaway here.
I got a.
Have you ever played? Dude, they did a remake of Shadows of Valencia. You know, Echoes.
Yeah, I own it, but I haven't played through it yet. I'm kind of piecing out my Fire Emblem, but I think it's fine.
I like that. I loved Awakening. I know people are like, "Oh, Awakening's the poser's Fire Emblem."
No, I don't think it's the poser's Fire Emblem at all. The whole thing with Awakening is they thought they were going to go bankrupt. They put every idea possible into it, and Awakening was like
Final Fantasy.
They thought that was going to be it, and
Awakening
so they
at
did
least brought new fans into it and brought a new interest. So the franchise at least could get back on its feet and bring more titles. So that's kind of what it was with Xenoblade Chronicles. That was
I will be right back. Keep this discussion going, please.
Well, here's something. If you're a fan of the Fire Emblem, who is your favorite hero in Fire Emblem?
I'll be right back too. Hold on.
That's a very easy question for me to answer. Hector is my favorite character in every Fire Emblem ever. I think he's amazing. He is like just the best. But that is the best. I don't know. I know what happens to him in 6, and I am purposely holding off on that because it is really depressing to me. But Hector by far. If I were to give like a second place, I do like Ephraim and Erica quite a bit as well. I think they're really good in Sacred Stones. Mm-hmm. I love the character design in 7 and 8 in general. So like I would say majority of the characters in 7 I just absolutely adore. But Hector is like a country mile for me. I'm curious what yours is.
Well, I really liked Elliewood, and I know that's
I like him too.
I like Mars. I like Roy.
No, Elliewood and
that's
Roy
not a basic answer at all. Like people, if you say Roy, I like Roy, but I do think it's kind of a basic answer because people just take it from Melee or Marth.
That's funny.
But Elliewood is a legitimate answer.
Yeah, well, because when I first played the game, I thought it was Roy. I was like, "Is this like a mistranslation?"
Me too. I thought that as well. Yeah, and I was so confused because Smash. Well, can you guys tell by the name Melee? I'm a big Smash Bros. Melee fan, so I thought that like that game might play similar. Like when I bought Fire Emblem, that's what sold me on it, and I thought it might play similar, and it was like such a rude awakening for me. And I'm like, well, this is not at all what I thought this was, but I did fall in love with it.
A very rather rude Fire Emblem awakening.
Yes, if you want to say it that
not
way.
as rude as when I was playing in Awakening, and I get a little bit into it, and then I get to unlock
wait,
Pegasus Knight, and I'm like, oh, that sounds really cool. Let me add a couple of these to the squad, and then apparently they're pretty infamous for being basically made of tissue paper. And
everything wrecks them.
Yes, that pissed me off too. They're so mobile.
They basically got two-shotted by the first enemy they encountered. I'm like, did I do something wrong? Let me reread the weapon triangle again. What in the world did I do? No, apparently it's just them. And I'm like, okay, well, it's not just me then. That's not.
Well, dude. First time I got a Pegasus Knight, I got killed in a repost. I sent the Pegasus Knight after a unit, and the unit attacked back after I attacked it, and it died. I'm like, well, screw those.
But that's the great thing about Fire Emblem 7. Well, nothing really. But Fire Emblem 7, what they do is like the Pegasus Knight is Florina, and she's like this timid girl that's just like, and she's scared of everything. And it's like the perfect Pegasus Knight. So you're like, this character can't do anything effective. She does end up doing something good later in the game, but it's just like, it's just a perfect painting of like the character's personality exactly paints what the unit is like too.
Yeah,
they're there for the vibes.
Away from conflict. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me. So my favorite Fire Emblem character is Bernadette from Three Houses. The introvert, like I always loved when she killed an enemy. Can I go back to my room now, please? He was so.
Please play the Game Boy Advance one, sir. Please.
Oh, they're so good.
Just try one. Do you have a Switch?
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Love it.
Oh.
I got so many JRPGs. I got the whole Xenoblade series on it. That's one of my favorite JRPGs.
So who here has played Dragon Quest?
I played.
I'm about to
8
jump
and
in.
I loved it.
Yeah, I think that are you gonna get the Dragon Quest 3?
Yes,
I am too.
I love that 2D HD look that comes from Octopath Traveler. I'm like, you can just re-release every 3D JRPG in that style, and I will day one buy all of them. I love.
Okay. Let's here's a good discussion. What games desperately need the 2D HD treatment? Melee Go.
That's a big question. I have no idea. Like what? I don't know what game needs that off the top of my head.
I dare say, I would like to see Chrono Trigger 2D HD. I would say I kind of want to see it in like a Suikoden style. Honestly, I think that would that would look really cool.
Here's my bigger question: does the 2D HD really make that much of a difference?
It is gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
It's pretty, but do I need to have all these classic JRPGs remade in it, or is it fine how they are? You know what I mean? I don't see a reason to really convert it.
Depends on the game, because Dragon Quest 3. Okay, James, that is a game that needs to be remade, Final Fantasy remake style.
Parasite Eve needs a remaster for sure.
I love that game so much. That game, if they remade that game like Final Fantasy remake, I would be so happy. I'm just sad that sorry.
No, this is off topic.
It would be
anyways,
perfect for the RE engine. That would be a perfect RE engine game.
Yeah,
it's a different company.
Well, that was my point. It's the 2D HD, whatever you want to call it. I can't really think of games off the top of my head, but Legacy of Kain, which is unrelated to all this, needs a remake, right? There's games I can think of. It's you need to punch this up, but Usually I'm fine with how JRPGs feel. I don't really care.
re-record the lines either, because
No.
the original
Simon
readings
Templeman.
of those lines were perfect as is. When they redid the lines for Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes, that damn near ruined the game for me, because they sounded so tired and like over it. And plus they changed several of the female voices, because in the original they had, you know, cute accents, and they have different voice actresses and North American accents. And I'm like, what are y'all doing?
Remember when they re-recorded the dialogue for Symphony of the Night for the PSP version?
Yes, it made more sense from a narrative standpoint, but the charm of that old crap was just
and you notice how
you can't go away from it.
I think I have a feeling that like when they do get around to re-release, like did you know Symphony of the Night is not on PC?
It's on my
I found that out trying to find it.
I mean, it's on my PC too.
It was released everywhere at one point, but for some reason not on Steam. That's very strange.
Yeah, the last release was on the PS4, where they essentially just re-released the Dracula X collection.
And Rondo Blood.
That was like, all right, Castlevania is really popular. We need something.
I played it a couple weeks ago. It was great.
Yeah, I love Symphony of the Night. I'm a huge Castlevania fan.
Did you ever play the Saturn version? Saturn had Nocturne in the Moonlight, which is the original title for Symphony of the Night.
Those are pretty
decent. It was only released in Japan, and the problem with that one was I believe it was like somewhat buggy and the graphics weren't as good, but it did have Maria. You could play as Maria.
Yeah, you could play as Victor or Maria. Yep. Yeah, it was weird because like when I booted it up, I was like, "What the hell is this character selection screen?" And I'm like, "I'm gonna pick somebody other than Alucard." And all of a sudden, there's this whole other part where I'm like fighting somebody on like horseback and shit. I'm like, "What is going on? Why is the cat? What?" So that was cool.
Yeah, Symphony of the Night is like one of those games, like Super Metroid, that just doesn't need to be remade. They're both mechanically, graphically, everything is just perfect. Like, I just don't think there's any way to improve Super Metroid. Same thing with Symphony of the Night.
You know what's really hilarious, too, is somebody pointed this out, where the reviews of Symphony of the Night when it came out basically called it a bored and tired throwback to an era that was going out of style, because it was still... It was still in the the pixelated 2D, and everybody was all at the time was all like, "Oh, my shiny 3D, goodness." Meanwhile, who really remembers the 3D Castlevania games of the 64 era?
I will say, if you're talking about Castlevania 64, the game is fun. Like it actually the problem is the camera. If you just fix the goddamn camera,
that's just the N64. Everything on the N64 felt like that.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is, let's say you remade let's say you re-released Castlevania 64 on modern consoles. You give it a dual stick control scheme. That game would actually be really fun, because I think there's a good game in there. It's just controls don't do any favors.
Yeah. Well, listen, Nick, before we get going too far, man, I've got to head out, and I've got to film some stuff for next week. Got a lot of videos to drop next week, but it's been a lot of fun, man. Thanks for inviting me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah. You're always welcome here anytime, and better support me when the book comes out.
Yeah.
Not a problem, man. Not a problem. I'll have to have you on the Authors Outpost to prop up your comics and your books a little bit, and try and see whose eyes we can get that on. Looking forward to it.
Sounds like a plan, sir.
Sweet.
Later.
Yep. Have a good one, man.
Yeah. So Melee, how much longer, Chris? Melee, how much longer can you go for?
I got like another 15-20 minutes probably.
All right, Chris, what about you?
Yeah, about that.
All right, so we can probably handle one more topic. So I'm open to suggestions. Chris, Melee, chat, if you want to bring anything up, feel free. Melee, you've been quiet. How about you?
Have I been quiet? I was yelling about your favorite movie for an hour.
Yes, and now you get to pick the topic.
Trying to make me pick a topic off the top of my head. Oh my god! Let me see what I have bookmarked. Now I'm curious. What I have bookmarked. I have an image of Halo saying sometimes the side chick it ain't even a side chick. It's just the trilogy of Halo. So there you go. I actually just started playing Halo 3 for the first time, and it is taking me back. And I don't know anything about the story in Halo 3 at all, but James explained.
Jared's a Halo guy.
James explained 1 and 2 to me, and I played through those, and I still didn't absorb the story. But like playing 3, I'm like, this is one of the best shooters of all time.
Yep.
So I'm having a great time. Personally,
Definitely the peak in the series.
Well, the thing about
Yes.
Halo is it's kind of the culmination of a lot of things. So Halo would not have been possible without GoldenEye. Because what GoldenEye did is it proved consoles can work, first-person shooters can work on a console. Yes, we've had first-person shooters on console before, but the controls were always a bit janky. GoldenEye proved it was doable. So Halo, GoldenEye walked so Halo could run. You see that a lot with a lot of things. But like Halo was kind of like the big coming out party for console FPSs.
Yeah, it ruined the genre.
I would say Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare did that.
No, because Microsoft bought Halo to use as a launch title because Halo was originally an RTS, but it's supposed to be part of the Marathon series.
Macintosh.
Yeah, it was for the Macintosh, and they bought it to snatch it for themselves. And in all honesty, I think Xbox, the original OG Xbox, marked the beginning of the end for innovation in gaming, because all of the games that PC developers developed for were now shoehorned onto a console with a very, very anatomically limiting controller. I can say this because I've designed for these games, and I can tell you right now there are studies that show that a controller is not an optimal peripheral for shooting. And that's why the original arena shooters died out, because they tried to put them on a console, and you can't snap 180. You can't even rocket jump on a controller. It's a pain in the ass to do.
I'm just gonna say I can't really play first-person shooters on console because, for one, like when I play a first-person shooter on a PC with like WASD mouse, it makes sense. It feels intuitive. You know, snap, you know, like click real quick. With the controllers, it's like you point your stick, and it's like
the drag is the problem.
Yeah, but it accelerates too. So it's like the farther away you get from zero or the dead center, the faster it moves. So suddenly you were overcompensating in the other direction. And then you're and it's like, God damn it, who designed this? Oh yeah, I did.
But you play like modern shooters, and now they're built around the controller, which is so strange to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah,
like, I will
it's crazy.
say shooters like Metroid Prime actually work a lot better. Like shooters with a built-in lock-on. They're actually like Metroid Prime with one stick is surprisingly playable on the GameCube.
Why were you playing with one stick? You playing Metroid one-handed? What are you doing there, buddy?
Metroid Prime is you basically.
I'm messing with you,
dude. I love Metroid Prime on the Wii.
There you go.
You point with the Wiimote, and then you use the nunchuck.
You like playing with your Wii.
Oh yeah, public,
oh, so you can make the horny joke, but I can't.
It's good to be the king. It is good to be the king.
No, in all honesty, though, as somebody that's gone through all the different peripherals, it pisses me off because I absolutely despised most console shooters back in the day because, like you said, they've had to go through their iterative designs to actually become playable, and then the actual design was changed to accommodate the limitations of the controller. But like, when the Wii came out and they had the nunchuck for directional, which is really nice to have analog movement for once, because in a PC you have an arrow key, or WASD, you're doing digital movement. But like, you've now got analog movement, and you've got this nice little right hand that you can use for like your point wand, just like a mouse. And I was like, this is. There's a company in the UK that created something called Snapfish, or something like that, where it was basically the same thing, but you could use it on your PS3. That's how I played through the Uncharted series. I had an absolute blast. I was like one-shotting people, headshotting, doing all sorts of awesome stuff. And then they pushed a freaking patch through that completely destroyed all third-party peripherals. Couldn't use it anymore. I tried to play Uncharted 3 with a PS3 controller, and I'm like, what is this shit? Like, I was like, yeah, I'm out. I'm done.
I mean, Hardcore Bunny, what do you mean back in the day?
Yeah, I still do that.
That's the other thing. Like, PCs were kind of the domain of like RPGs. Like a lot of the RPGs that we come to, like Fallout, and a lot like Elder Scrolls, were PC games.
Yep.
Like, I mean, a controller is good for some things. Like, if you're playing a platform game, controller's fine. Even an RPG is fine. But for like really intensive games like strategy or like first-person shooter, you need the keyboard.
Yeah, more than whatever buttons they have. Yeah, and I remember when Diablo 3 went through the process of becoming a console game.
It's a circle. You got a circle wheel. Not everyone's using it.
I don't hate the wheel, but yeah, it can get really annoying. I don't know. I tried playing Age of Empires on Xbox recently, and it was just a horrible experience. I couldn't deal with it. I was like, I don't even know why I'm attempting this.
From what I hear, StarCraft actually works pretty well in N64. From what I hear.
StarCraft 64, yeah. It's on the PS1. But
well,
yeah,
I thought it was for N64.
It's on the PS1 as well. They also have Diablo for the PS1. I don't know if it was a homebrew.
Oh, Diablo for the PS1. Like, they actually adapted the controls for the PS1 very well.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what happened when they did Diablo 3 is they explored back on like a game that sells good, that sells great on a PC doesn't make as many sales as a game that sells mediocre on a console. So all publishers went, we got to make games for consoles. And they completely shoehorned and corrupted all of these PC open modification games. And that's why we're seeing like a stagnant, a stagnancy in like the creative aspects. Because nothing can be modded anymore.
Here's the other like big problem that's really holding video games back. Now, Chris, I'm going to say a term, and it's going to trigger your PTSD, okay? I'm warning you. I'm giving you a trigger warning. Minimum viable product.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, dude, I sat in a design meeting in the freaking boardroom, okay? These assholes who had just defined what the minimum viable product, what the MVP of their game is, are like, okay, now what can we pull out of this game and use it as pre-order bonuses and use it as retailer exclusive, like if you go to GameStop, you get this like helmet or whatever and all this shit. And I'm just like, guys, what part of minimum viable product are you not understanding here? We should be making shit in addition to this. And it's like, well, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. Shut up, you. You know, I'm like, okay, fine. You know, I actually got in this one argument with this one guy that was above me, you know, because, you know, he was an office politician. And I was like, hey, I'm reading our forums and people are saying that their pre-order bonus or like the collector's edition that they bought isn't coming with the cherry red armor that they had pre-ordered. Instead, they're getting this weird brown camo armor instead. And the guy's like, yeah, whatever, fuck them. So I'm like, okay, I'm being dismissed because I'm a pleb. You know, I'm
that's lawsuit territory.
Yeah, right, I said that. I went over his head essentially, and I was like, to his boss, somebody that I don't talk to.
His helmet.
I went, yeah, I didn't go around it. I went over it, and I was like, we're gonna get sued for this shit. Like, what are we fucking doing here? And they're like, oh, well, we don't even have a way to track who can, you know, who did the collector's edition versus who didn't, because you know the agent that they install or the client that they install isn't like collector's edition client, you know, and the accounts don't carry that information for some reason.
Just get people to submit a receipt or something. Yeah, like there's so many ways around that.
It was so frustrating that you're like you're advocating for a customer when the entire industry collectively hates their fucking customers. And I wasn't alone.
It's like, why do you think community managers are so toxic?
Yeah,
like I get a lot of them are ideological assholes. I get it, but also the shit they put up with, I'd be bitter too.
But community managers are a whole different discussion, in my opinion. I don't think that's necessarily from the top down. I think the problem with community managers is you bring in people, and that's like a high trust role, right? I've spoken on this a few times, but it's a role that you kind of place that person in once you've tested them, made sure they can kind of do the role. You just leave them to their own devices. But normally, when a company is a startup, like an indie company or whatever, it's usually the CEO that's first interacting with customers, right? So it's a lot more personal. They're getting the feedback quicker. They're able to improve the product a lot quicker. Yeah. Now you're creating more layers in between that, and then so now it's more opinions, and maybe that person doesn't understand the vision of what the company originally wanted, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the thing. It's one of those roles that you don't really know the person's right or wrong for it until you've seen them try it out. So I just think that there needs to be more like pairing up with the CEO and the person doing community management. They don't realize how important that touch point is.
Harker Bunny, that is the least worst thing Bethesda has done.
Horse
What was
Island.
the dragon statue? What was it?
Oh, with Skyrim, you get that shitty dragons statue.
Yeah, I
thing.
know the bag. I know the bag thing. Like, Mela, you're familiar with like the bag problem.
Yeah, it's
Well, they
vinyl.
promised like this, like nice, like kind of canvas bag, and they gave
Yeah, I
you
remember
like
that.
literally a trash
Nylon. Yeah, it was awful. But yeah, I was a quasi community manager at one point in a startup, and even in that startup, like my kind of approach to it was, well, I'm customer service. You know, even if these people aren't buying something from me, I'm the customer facing face, or at least the screen name or whatever in the forums. And you know, I'm dealing with these people, and I don't know what happened from like 2004 to about now, but like I was always under the impression diffuse. If somebody was upset about something, you like we had like this first company that I started was a startup company called Offset Software. Okay, they did this thing called Project Offset, and it was the first person shooter / third person slasher. So like you pull out your sword, you go into melee mode or whatever, and you got the sword in third person, but when you go into first person with your spells, your crossbow or whatever, regardless. People, this was before Kickstarter and all that shit. So people donated a fuck ton of money to this thing. And we just went into stealth mode. And we're working on this project. And I'm in the forums and I'm reading these posts. And people are getting more and more increasingly angry. Where the fuck, like, what's going on? Where's the status? Blah, blah, blah. You guys took my money and ran. You're a bunch of assholes. You know, blah, 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 whatever. So I got in. And I'm talking to the leads. I'm like, you know, the CEOs or whatever. Bunch of fucking whatever. Bunch of kids that were giving way too much money. And I'm like, what are we going to do? And they're like, I don't know, fuck them. I'm like, I don't think you understand. These are the reasons, like, they're the ones paying us to, like, keep the lights on. And, like, this is before I got into business
This
and
doesn't
finance.
sink in with anyone for some reason. I don't get it.
Okay, this is kind of a thing you see. This is not just a video game problem. This is an everything problem.
Well, this is...
You see this a lot in comics. You see this a lot in like, obviously, video games. Of a fuck the customer kind of mentality.
Well, these guys are getting like all this money and all this shit, and they're like, well, I don't know, just fuck them. And they didn't like me at all. Like one or two of them might have tolerated me or whatever.
Well, you're holding them accountable. Of course, they're not going to.
Well, there's this one brother that had a fucking stick up his ass or whatever. Just fucking hated me. And then the art team, yeah, that was a whole other story. But they're in there and they're like, well, we'll give him the shit job. We'll let him take the abuse or whatever. So I go in there and I'm like, none of the things these people are saying it's not unreasonable. If I put in this amount of money and it just fucking thanks for the money and leave, I would want some kind of like either updates or whatever. So after getting the I don't know, fuck them, attitude from the CEOs, I was like, well, fine, I'm gonna go off the hip. I'm gonna say what I think. So I went in there and I left a message and I'm like, look, I apologize for the lack of updates. Here's what I can tell you from my limited exposure. We do have a bunch of stuff brewing, but this is a very cutthroat industry. We cannot show you a bunch of the cool shit we're working on because bigger companies than us who have a lot more resources can beat us to market with the shit we're working on if we show it. And rather than having a bunch of assholes looking at our stuff from like EA or one of these other companies going, thanks for the free idea, asshole, yoink, and then beating us to market, we're seeking to kind of stay in stealth mode until we actually are at a point where we can release something. And suddenly the entire hatred and rage went, oh, actually, he's got a really good point. Sorry.
It's a perfect answer. That's why.
Yeah, and I look back at what I'm seeing now. Oh, sorry, just to finish the point. The point. I'm looking now at these forum managers, and they delete posts. And the people that are upset, they're like, well, fuck you. You're an agitator, or you're a bigot, or you used expletives or whatever, so I'm going to delete you. Dude, a churn is worse than a no sale. If you have somebody that gave you money and they said, I am ending business relationship with you because of a negative experience, I'm going to go tell all my friends. That's the worst fucking thing you could possibly do. As a community manager, that should be a fireable offense. If you kick someone who purchased your game and you deleted their account, so you stole the product essentially from them that they bought, your ass should be canned right on the spot. You failed as a customer-facing community manager.
Too many creators treat their customers as adversarial when people just want to be treated like human beings. Okay,
but they're upset. Sorry, what were you saying?
they're upset.
Well,
And
yeah,
it's like what you did. You see, here's the problem. Here's your problem, Chris. This is what you did wrong. You treated the customers like human beings and adults. You talked to them like adults. You leveled with them, and you weren't. And you basically told them as much as you could. That's your problem. If you were a mature adult about it.
Well, you also, when you're in public spaces, you can't expect everybody to like speak with perfect decorum. If they're like, this fucking game sucks and these people are a bunch of F-bombs or whatever, okay, let's address this. Not, I'm going to delete this account because this person is a bigot and I'm going to, basically steal the game that they purchased from me. Like, no. That's not how this works. They're a paying customer. You sit there and you take their abuse. I'm sorry, but if you don't like that, you shouldn't be a fucking customer.
I will say
they just take it personally.
There is kind of a line where, like, you do need to ban some people.
Yeah, if they're showing photos of my house or something. Yeah,
like that bar is pretty high. Like, you need to set that bar very high.
Yeah, if they're like they dox if they dox somebody, obviously they're gonna go putting porn on the forums. They gotta go, but like. Or even showing photos of my house or something, yeah, you got to go. But if it's somebody that's like, I hate this game, these developers are assholes, blah, 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 you leave that shit. Because you know what's better than somebody who says all that shit is somebody that you can get to reverse that shit. Somebody that you say, I'm working my best to change your negative perception of my company. What can I do to make you happy? And it doesn't always work. Like there's a lot of scenarios where there's a lot of trolls. You can't make them happy. Whatever. Let them bitch. Let them piss in the wind. Scream in the dark. I don't care. But there are people who have general grievances. And if they're like, I don't like this rainbow shit in this game. I don't like the fact that I'm paying $80 in addition to the $60 game that I purchased. All that stuff. Leave that in. Have an adult discussion with these people. They paid you money. That's the least you can do for them. Sorry, but
that was perfectly said. I completely agree with you, and I hope there's companies out there listening to this right now or listen later because that's excellent advice. You want to turn your company around? Listen to this man. Seriously, that's all you need to do. It's not hard. It's like just respect your customers, be honest with them, and the thing too is that customers they tend to want you to succeed in the beginning, anyways. So usually that criticism doesn't come from a bad place until it gets worse and worse and worse. It just spirals, right? And the more combative you are with them, the more combative they will be in return until it becomes a hateful relationship. And usually that comes from caring to begin with, in my opinion.
Yeah, the opposite of love is not hate, it's apathy. And that's kind of where we're starting to get with like stuff like Star Wars and the Marvel stuff is they've been kind of banking off the hate, the hate bait. But now we're getting to a point where the apathy is setting in.
And there's no recovering from that. Once somebody's apathetic or what is the indifferent to your product, you're done. Like, I would rather have people hate my product than be indifferent to it because nobody cares at that point. You're dead. You have no buzz, no visibility. You're done. And that's what's happening to these big freaking like Star Wars, Marvel, like all of them.
Well, the problem is nowadays is it's all well and good to take advice, but as you see, it's been weaponized by the left and the SJWs. You're like, oh, you need to fix this. It's sexist. It's misogynist. And then when they bow to the mob, so you need to kind of be like, okay, is this legit feedback? Is this legit criticism? Or are they just fucking insane?
Well, there's a balance, right? I think sometimes you also have to appreciate what your original vision is and understand that, like, maybe people aren't seeing everything you're building, so they might not understand why that would be the wrong way to go for you, or it just doesn't suit what your whole, like, idea is. So I think there is a balance between keeping the integrity of what you see should happen versus taking in insight from customers. But at the same time, you should always treat those customers with respect. And if you even want to afford them that, you can tell them this is the reason why we wouldn't go this direction, for example, right?
Yeah,
but you don't have to like get angry or ignore these people. You can simply go, hey, that doesn't really fit what we're doing, but that's a great idea, and then leave it at that.
Yeah.
Thank you for your input.
To give you to kind of give a personal anecdote, when it came to Screecher, one of the biggest feedbacks I got was like, oh, how does she have her powers? How do you explain how she's so capable? Because I had just that one origin issue. And like I already kind of had it mapped out in my head, and even in issue 2, I kind of start to explain it more. And like I've watched reviews where like, oh yeah, when I read issue 1, I was confused, and then when I read issue 2, it started to make a little bit more sense. You know, could that be my fault for not releasing everything at once? Yeah, I'm willing to say maybe. But that's also a great example of people having feedback, and I kind of stick to my gun and say, hey, there's more coming, be patient, you know, and I'm getting rewarded for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people also like appreciate that they are being heard. So even if you don't take their advice, you know, thank you for your input. We'll be taking it into consideration, you know, even if like, and not just say it, like actually talk to your creative team and be like, hey, we got some feedback, you know, blah, blah, blah. But like just acknowledging that makes a world of difference with your customers. Cause it's like, okay, they're not just telling me to get, you know, thanks for the money, get the fuck off. Like, or, you know, GTFO. Like they're actually like, okay, they actually care about me and I don't feel like I'm being silenced. And then I'm sorry, but we're seeing the direct opposite of that today. We're seeing the.
I mean remember with Ghostbusters 2016, they specifically added in a scene in reshoots to make fun of the people on YouTube. Like they saw all the hate their initial reaction got on YouTube, and they literally added a scene in to mock them in reshoots.
Yeah, that's your ego getting in your way, right? It's like you're taking the criticism as completely personal when people are just judging it on the product themselves. They don't know you from the other person down the street.
By the way,
they know you're working on it.
I just want to say, I have to flex this. I actually did a troll post on Ghostbusters, and it got so big that Paul Feig responded.
Oh, really?
Chris, do you remember when I posted that? I don't get like. Yeah, that actually happened. I got Paul Feig because I made like a stupid like criticism of Ghostbusters post that kind of took off a little bit, and Paul Feig actually responded.
Oh damn! Well, I don't think Paul Feig is a bad person. I just like
he's a bit of an adult. He's kind of an
idiot. I think he gave too much free range to his actors. Like, you know, whatever you think of the guy, like personally, like none of us have spoken to him personally, so we don't know. But from everybody that you've seen in interviews, they say they actually like working with the guy. So it could have just been a major misstep. It could have been we thought it was going to do this, but it failed. Like that's all it was. Like customers got to learn also that it's not a personal attack on that.
Strikes me as a well-meaning moron.
Yeah, that's a perfect summation. Yeah, he kissed the asses of these people, and then
he kisses ass. He kisses the ass of the right people. I mean, he's not a untalented director. Like.
No,
a lot of the films he made, awesome. like his parodies, like Bridesmaids, for a certain group of people.
It's like lava.
So he's not a quote unquote bad director. I think he was the wrong choice for Ghostbusters.
Exactly.
There wasn't enough people to rein him in.
No, that's a good one.
I don't know. I just don't like because basically they tried to make Ghostbusters 3 for like 20 years up to that point, and as soon as Harold Ramis died, they pretty much just yanked it out of Ivan Reitman's hands and forced that thing out into production, and it feels kind of disgusting.
Yeah, screw you, freaking Bill Murray, man. He's the one that dragged his ass on that for so long.
Yeah, we could have gotten a Ghostbusters 3 as early as the late 90s.
Ghostbusters Goes to Hell. They made it into a video.
Ghostbusters Hellbent. Did you know at one point Chris Farley was supposed to be a Ghostbuster? Can you imagine?
Oh God!
Can you imagine a Ghostbusters movie that comes out in '97, and it has Chris Farley as a Ghostbuster? That is like I'm sorry, I want to travel to that dimension because that sounds like the funniest movie ever.
Yeah, do you remember the original cast of Ghostbusters, like way back in the day? Eddie Murphy as Winston Zedmore, Jim Belushi as Ray Stantz. God, I can't remember who the other two were, but it wasn't.
So, if I remember correctly, the reason why Winston got a reduced role is because Eddie Murphy was supposed to play him, and then when they just casted the new guy, that's why. Oh, he doesn't have a degree. I got to be honest with you, having Winston be the everyman, I actually think helps the film.
I do too. I think the end product that they ended up with was a lot better than the original concept.
Because Eddie Murphy's character was supposed to be another scientist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think 1984 is Ghostbusters. I mean,
like
I know people say
Gaffar, like I think even Janine Gaffardo was supposed to be in that Ghostbusters. Like, imagine a Ghostbusters 3 '97 with Chris Farley and Janine Gaffardo.
Who? Garofalo?
Yeah.
Yeah. Daria, or the not
That would have
Daria.
been. I'm sorry. That would sound like such a good movie.
Yeah.
But by the way, you do know Chris Farley was originally supposed to be Shrek, right?
Yep. Yeah, I saw
Shrek?
the preview. Yeah, I saw the previs. There's an animated. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, he actually did previs for it, and so after he died, they had Mike Myers come in. He wanted it to get rewritten to have it be more of a Mike Myers kind of thing. Yeah, Chris Farley was originally going to play Shrek. I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah.
I'm about to blow Melee's mind.
Yeah, you should see it. It looks so
Yeah,
weird.
it's like never crossed my mind at all.
Isn't he orange
right.
too?
Oh, some of the other test footage also has recently resurfaced.
Nothing like a fire and a noble romantic mission to warm the cockles of your heart.
Yeah. I like my cockles room temperature. Thank you very much.
Hey, if you're not doing this for cockle warming, why are you doing it?
Simple. Fartwad gets his princess. I get what I want.
Which is? Now, come on, what do you want?
I don't have time to set it to music.
Oh, this is another one of those onion things.
No, one of those drop it and leave me alone things.
Well, why don't you want to talk about it?
Why do you want to talk about it?
Why are you answering the question with a question?
Why are you asking questions I don't want to answer?
Why are you blocking?
I'm not blocking.
Then why do you have problems expressing your wants?
I don't. I want you to shut up. See? No problem.
You're just displacing your anger.
Believe me, it's properly placed.
You're really mad at whoever did this to you.
No one did anything to me.
Yes. Someone hurt you so bad. Someone hurt you many years ago.
Leave my parents out of this.
Breakthrough. Let's go with that. Let's explore family origin.
I kind of wish
there's a child.
All right.
There's 3D animatics of this too.
Oh,
This
really?
is awesome. I prefer this, actually. That's sad that
Yeah.
we never got that.
There's a 3D animatic too, and it's like he's like an orange. It's
All right,
test.
next. All right, yep. I'm sorry. That's copyright music.
Yeah.
This was lost media for like the longest time. By the way, this was only recently uncovered, like in the last few years.
I don't hear the audio.
Wow.
If there's
I
any.
turned it off.
Oh, just the music, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I turned it off because of copyright. Yeah, after this, we're gonna wrap up. So Melee.
That's
what's your
great
reaction?
animation. I wish Chris Farley was Shrek.
I wish Chris Farley was still alive. God damn,
I-
it's comedic genius.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if Shrek would have been as popular amongst kids if it was Chris Farley's voice, though.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
know.
a little
Chris
more
Far-
adult oriented.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I just can't, there's a lot of those. Like, did you know that Aaliyah was actually supposed to have a role in The Matrix Reloaded?
Oh shit!
No, I had no
Yeah,
idea.
the character.
She's supposed to be Niobe.
No, I think she was supposed to be the character Z. Link's wife. If you watch The Matrix. Matrix Reloaded. Yeah, she was supposed to be in it.
I got
but, like,
bored of The Matrix.
I only liked the first film. Oh, and the
Yeah.
Animatrix.
I liked the first film, and then after that, I got bored.
All right, so this has been the Friday night feature for June. I think it's pretty clear that for July, at the end of July, we're going to cover Top Gun. Are you down for that, Melee?
Yeah, just send me a date, and we'll figure it out if it works. But it should be fine.
Okay. That one might be a little bit more positive. That one might be.
I already said I love Top Gun. I'm a big Top Gun fan.
I do too. So that one actually might be better. So Chris, what do you got going on, and where can people find you?
Oh, sweet, yeah. Oh, here, let me show you some stuff.
He's like, oh crap, we're wrapping up. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, let me hold on. I gotta. Ooh.
Top Gun for the top. I mean, what's better than a bunch of muscle-bound, oily dudes playing volleyball?
Well,
whoa! Look at this.
To a
Yeah,
song to a song literally called "Playing with the Boys."
So I started with the gay references aside. I started working on my, or I should say, I finally got some of my trading cards for the next Infinitel Chronicles crowdfunding stuff in that I'm really excited to bring over to the convention that I'm going to be attending in September. And I love the fact that I was able to get these suckers in these like nice little foil booster packs. And then after I had them all splayed out on the table, I was like, you know what would be really cool? Like I remember seeing this as a kid was like a map of all of the cards within a series, or like in my case, what I did here was I made a poster of all of the different trading cards that are available. So if you ever wanted to have the complete set, you can grab the poster to see which ones you have, which ones you don't. And then if you don't want the actual map, you can actually just flip the poster over and get the really cool collector's bundle box cover that we did, as we can see here. One of the protagonists
by the
about
way,
to.
James, I don't know if you're still in the chat. If you are, thank you. But please tell me, like, that is a blood elf.
That looks amazing. I'll show him later. He's helping me sort something else out right now, but
Chris,
that's awesome.
Chris knows that, like, whenever I see this picture, I just think blood elf.
Well,
I can see it even as a non-fan of Warcraft. I see it.
Well, here's the easy way you can tell it's not a blood elf. She doesn't have an eyebrow that goes out to here on both sides. This character was designed 15 years before blood elves existed. So yeah, that's one of the kind of the pains of being an independent creator, is the fact that, like I was saying with the indie game that I worked on, people with more resources get to market faster than you. So I'm always going to be accused.
Yeah,
of,
you're about 20
that's
years
a blood
too late,
elf,
my friend.
Yeah, that's a blood elf. That's a this whatever, and it's like, nope, this has existed long before that. And in all honesty, I stopped caring after people were like, oh, that's a blood elf, and then they read the book and they're like, oh yeah, that's definitely not a blood elf. This is not the Warcraft stories that you would expect. This is a little more.
Yeah. So you're saying your elves are not junkies, like are not magic junkies?
Yes and no. Basically, the Infinitel Chronicles War of the Trees saga being the first. So Infinitel Chronicles is the chronicled adventures of the TTRPGs that I had done back in the 90s. We recorded all the game sessions and stuff. These were actually played characters by real people. The first saga or collection of stories like the adventure, The War of the Trees, was kind of the origins of the elves themselves. The first book, called Second Genesis, is where the elves realized that they've been kind of lied to, and they kind of rediscover magic and all of the.
For another ring was forged.
Well, this is long before that as well. This has nothing to do with Lord of the Rings. I actually, when
you created this in the 20s or the 30s.
No, but I created my story without looking at Tolkien stuff. I looked at what inspired Tolkien, which I can't say a lot of fantasy writers do. A lot of fantasy writers will actually, basically, like for example, Dungeons and Dragons. Obviously, they looked at Tolkien, and then Warcraft.
Halflings are literally hobbits.
Well, yeah.
Warcraft.
What I do with my stuff.
Warcraft is basically a mixture of Warhammer and Tolkien.
Yeah. So what I did with my stuff was I looked at, well, what did Tolkien use? Well, he used the operas. He used the Volsung Saga, Snorri Sturluson's Icelandic books. I looked at the Kalevala, which is the Finnish stories. I did a lot of the Mabinogi, which is the Welsh folklore, a lot of Irish folklore in here. The Tua Dudanan or the Tua Dedanan, where I have the people of Tenu. So a lot of the myths that I've built the Infinitel Chronicles off of were kind of pre-Tolkien stuff. I didn't want to rip off somebody that already told Tolkien's work. So the aesthetics may be similar to whatever Warcraft is doing or whatever, but again, these stories were told from a completely different, completely different perspective from completely different sources. So,
it's gorgeous art, by the way. I love this.
And honestly, can I just say, Chris, your stuff puts us all to shame. Like the quality of your work, you are literally like just going off of like the quality wise. You're one of the top guys in comics right now. Your stuff makes mine look like just kid stuff.
Oh shit! Well, thanks. I'm hoping that by the time I get all this stuff ready for Book 2's launch, that's the cover for the standard edition, and this is the cover for our alternate art team edition. It will kind of earn people's support, because I didn't get much negative feedback from Book 1. So I'm hoping that the people that enjoyed Book 1 will really enjoy Book 2, because it's double everything. It's double the page count, and in this case, we're actually amping up the art as well. We've got 2 different art teams doing the same book, same story, or I should say the same story in 2 separate books.
Nice.
Nice. So yeah, thanks for having me. And dude, yeah, I've had a blast.
I am sorry, Immortal, but I like to build people up instead of tearing them down. And Chris is a very good friend of mine. He's been a great ally and a great co-host. So I'll inflate his ego as large as I want to. Thank you very much.
Although, unfortunately, I don't really have much of an ego for that. If somebody's like, dude, your shit sucks, I'm like, sorry. Like,
well,
speaking of within my stuff.
Speaking of ginormously large egos, Melee.
Wait, what?
Do I come across that way because I hate the 2 films that you've shown me so far?
I'm talking shit, okay?
Philistine!
You're lucky that I like Top Gun, or else my ego would get even bigger.
Hey, your ego is writing checks your body can't cash.
Apparently. I don't know what's going on today.
All right. Melee, where can people find you and what you got going on?
I am Melee K, one half of Melee Games. I have Melee James as well with us, and we make Melee Games. What do we do? Video game stuff. We play video games. We talk about video games. We play video games with you. We do all sorts of fun stuff. So, where I'm going to be, well, tonight I'm going to be on Ballbusters on Dermy Wormy's channel. We're going to be hanging out, having some fun. I don't know if we're drinking. I owe a lot of shots on his show, because like every $20 you're supposed to take a shot, and he got like $1,000 one day. So like we're still catching up. Yeah. So I don't know if I'm drinking tonight or not, because I think he isn't drinking. We'll find out. But I'm going to be on Dermy's show tonight.
Melee, you need to take
thank you.
money.
Thank you, Hardcore Bunny. I appreciate that. Other than that, on our own channel, we will be live tomorrow for what we call the Gifted Games Gallery. That is, our community is generous enough, and they've decided to gift us a bunch of games. So I made a show out of it, and we're like, okay, let's play an hour each of a game that you guys bought us. So we picked 5 games. We play that. Sunday, we're going to be doing Steam Roulette. For those of you who have watched our channel, you know what that is. But essentially, we spin a wheel. We play whatever the wheel lands on, essentially. So that is also a lot of fun. Otherwise, yeah, Melee Games, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere pretty much. Rumble, Kick, Twitch. You'll find us.
OnlyFans?
Not OnlyFans yet.
Yet? There's an asterisk there.
Melee, you really need to open up like a troll OnlyFans or something.
Like, people have already made the joke, because if you tip $50 on our channel and you say Bear Force 1, James takes off his shirt and dances for you. So that happens sometimes on our channel. And so, yeah, that's why the OnlyFans joke is there.
I'm getting my credit card information ready right now.
So that's the thing on our channel. So who knows? I'm joking around, but anyways, thank you for having me. It's always fun, even if I always end up watching terrible movies. I still enjoy hanging out with all of you. So
it's always fun having you on, Melee. I got to have you on every once in a while, because sometimes my ego needs a bit of cut down. So, and you're vicious, you're mean, you're just the kind of pit bull that I need on the street.
I'm like,
I've only begun.
I'm not gonna stand here and be like, I'm a super nice person. I'm just honest either way. So I think you and I disagree on a lot of things, and that's why I come across mean. But I can be nice.
I'm talking shit.
I know.
I enjoy you. Okay, I love having you on. You're a lot of fun. And honestly, the disagreement, it's fun. It makes it fun.
It's all in fun. It's all in fun, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. You disagreeing makes the stream more interesting. So
well, thank you.
please tell me, continue telling me how wrong I am.
Oh
But,
my god.
All right, so I'm Nick Phoenix. You can catch me on here on YouTube. If you made it this far, please make sure to leave us a like. I should have said that earlier, but I'm a fucking idiot. Find me on X, Phoenix Press. Third Say, we got a Patreon. That's more comic book goodness for you. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. And thank you, Chris. Fuck you, man. I'm not sorry. Thank you.
Whoa.
This has been Nick from the Phoenix Press. And remember,
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.